Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome to Season 13 of AAOL, presented by AOE and streamed by Koala's Esports. I am Nikki. Joined with me tonight will be Harry B. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, Nikki. I'm looking forward to some hype games of Overwatch tonight. It really is looking like it's going to be kind of a fire night, to be honest. Kind of a fire night.
Yeah, I am very keen. There's a few players that we'll get into when we go through the rosters that I'm very excited to cast here. But before we go, a few housekeeping things. AOL, it is, we're in Season 13. This is Stage 3, Week 3, as I mentioned, presented by AOE Sports. It's a weekly casual tournament split into like 3 stages over 10 weeks. There's like 5 week round robins. It's the largest OCE tournament with 50 teams. We've been going on for yonks, you know. And so there's so many people that you can join and meet. Teams are just wide. There's so many that you can link up, meet some incredible people. So the Discord and the website and all that sort of stuff should be below. And tonight we are coming up with some exciting games, as you mentioned, Harry. We have Ace Kings and Ambition Desire to start us off.
Yeah, we do. And these rosters, they're looking pretty stacked as we go into Ace Kings as our first roster here. We're going to be looking at Bean on the main tank role, looking on that Wrecking Ball as his favorite hero. So Laptop on the off-tank role as their favorite hero being the Zarya. Hanzo being Secret's favorite role on that Flex DPS, on a hitscan DPS, sorry. LZT on that Flex DPS with Genji as his favorite hero. DC on main support with Lucio as his favorite hero. And Doggo on aim support with her favorite hero being Ana. And this looks like it's going to be a more poke, pick, divey style composition coming out. A really slow game style that they're going to be running here, Nikki. I'm really looking forward to seeing how well they synergize with this type of composition. You really rely on that Wrecking Ball engage to get a lot of damage done.
Yeah, and the Genji following up with that, of course, will be really essential. But then my question is, how does the Hanzo fit into that? And they'll just be like spamming from way back. But I guess we'll have to see as we kind of get further into this game, or any at all into this game, really, Harry. But on the other side of the battlefield will be Ambition Desire. They've been banned for a little bit, but the main tank tonight is going to be Volpe, who's actually playing with this roster for the first time. So do watch out for that. Volpe, of course, very established also on the Wrecking Ball. I've casted them countless of times. Always phenomenal, great player. They will be accompanied on the tanks by Deadly Color. I'm pretty sure they're in my friends list. So maybe I can like re-establish some sort of connection here. I'm not sure how that's going to go. House is apparently cracked on the hitscan DPS. Widow being their favorite hero. So I'm not going to complain if we see a few dinky dinks tonight. Cray also on the DPS is going to be phenomenal. Disco and Ren, that support line has been together for a while. As well as, aside from this roster, they have been together for a while. Disco, Ren, and Cray. So do watch out for that synergy. I expect to see some of that tonight, and especially in the support line, that will be really obvious that these guys have been together for a while.
Yeah, I do agree with that. But something you did point out was that Volpe is playing with them for the first time. And I wonder how, especially with Wrecking Ball being their favorite hero, how they're going to be able to synergize if this is really their first time playing and they haven't been able to, you know, sub in for a scrim or anything like that. It's going to be interesting seeing how they engage, how they disengage, and how they actually just take fights in general with someone who really isn't synergized with the rest of the team as well. Whereas you look over at Ace Kings, they've been together for a little bit. They used to be called Dad's Having a Good Time. And if you've known anything about that organization, they've been around for yonks. They've been around for as long as I can remember, at least in AOE. So I think that if you're going into that dive meta, into that dive mirror match, sorry, you're looking more towards synergy. And I think Ace Kings might have a little bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, and I expect that we will see that as it goes on. The one out for Volpe may be that the Wrecking Ball, you can play it pretty independently, but if they are forced off that Wrecking Ball onto a very team-oriented tank like a Winston or a Ryan, I do expect that we may see some struggles there, or it might just be a chance to Volpe to show off their incredible shot calling abilities. So that should be really exciting. We're going to briefly run over the map pool here, Harry. We will be starting off on Lijiang Tower, the Lunar New Year edition. There's so many special map editions this season, which is pretty cool. King's Row Winter, big difference to Kings Row Summer, I guess. Eichenwald, those are your two hybrid options. Rialto and Junkertown for Escort, Hanamura Winter, and Temple of Anubis, definitely not Winter, will be our 2CP. Nepal and Busan are there if needed as well. So, I think especially on Kings Row, we might see some deviation off the Wrecking Ball, which could be scary when we were talking about Volpe before. That's obviously such a Rhine predominant map. But Lijiang, you can get away with Wrecking Ball on a lot of those stages.
Yeah, you definitely can. Something you brought up was Kings Row Winter as opposed to Kings Row Summer. It really is just winter all year round for us Australians there. We don't really have a summertime in England. But yeah, I definitely agree that you'll see a lot more Reinhardt. It's the staple of Kings Row. Brawl is the staple composition for Kings Row, and I'd be shocked if we didn't see it come out for both teams. As we actually head into our first map, Lijiang Tower, and our first round being Night Market. What are you expecting to see here, Nikki?
I think the Wrecking Ball from Volpe and Beanlord, to be fair, should come out for both of these teams. I think if there's any map to see a few Symmetra shenanigans, it will absolutely be here as well. This probably the most Symmetra friendly map, or the most Symmetra played map, I should say, in all of Overwatch, really. So there's like that telly on top of the point, they'll both drop down. And then the question is, how will they clean up the kills once they are there? The compositions seem pretty mirrored. And the big difference, the only difference, is going to be the Baptiste and the Ana. The Baptiste will have the Immortality field, but if they can land that anti-nade and clean up the kills before the Immort is down, that could be massive.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and we're actually going to see both teams just teleporting straight onto the point. The punch actually missing, but it does kind of knock everyone away there as we see the Immortality field used straight away to combat the anti-nade that you were talking about just for Nikki as you see a punch coming in. Beanlord straight away taken out by House. Immortality field going down so early there. This fight is still going on. It is quite a quick fight as House takes out LZT. Volpe does take out Secret, and Taco takes out Doggo. House has killed 3 in this fight, with Taco finishing off XDC, and that is going to be just a fight win straight away for Ambition Desire.
Yeah, they won that off the back of, I know it's obvious, because it just did more damage. There's not much more to say than that. It's really indicated there by the difference in both the DPS's ultimate charge. They are both really coming on that one nice and fast. Also, watch out for Ren's Nanoboost here. If they chuck that onto the Rhine, it could be brutal.
Yeah, it could be brutal indeed. You're right. As we see the Meteor Strike come out right now, and the Sim Wall as well. We do see the Immortality field used, so they're going to have to back out a little bit and wait for that cooldown to come back available. As we see Volpe now trying to push around that corner. They're trying to get as aggressive as they can because they know against the Symmetra, they have a little bit of a disadvantage in that long-range poke. But we see LZT actually taking out House. Secret takes down Volpe. They took too long to try and get into position here, and no Nano Boost was ever used. LZT managed to take out both supports in that fight, and they're going to be able to push onto point and take their first percentage of this map. 47% gain, though, for Desire.
Yeah, Ace Kings, they really completely made the DPS ults of Ambition Desire look really ineffective. Neither of those ultimates got any value whatsoever, and since that's all that was invested, as they could use their own ultimates, particularly the Symmetra Wall got a fair bit of value, as did their Amp Matrix. It was just their fight from there. But here's going to be the Nanarine, and if they can capitalize on this anti-Beanlord here, that could be a really nice opening.
Yeah, I agree. They probably should have capitalized on that anti-nade. They used the bomb and it forces out the Immortality field even when it didn't need it. But Big Shadow comes in, manages to get on to both supports right there. No sound barrier is going to be They use the Nano Boost, sorry, straight away, and the Shadow catches onto 2. XTC goes down, the window was used to try and counteract it, but it doesn't look like it's going to really be able to get any value as Deadly Color takes out Bean Lord. Great Taco did find LZT in that, and Disco manages to boot Sir Laptop off the edge. 82% and blipping over for Desire right now. 82% for Kings. That's really good.
Yeah, they finally took control of the point again, Harry, but it cost them 5 ultimates, and their 6th is not quite close enough up to be of any significance in this next fight. So that puts Ace Kings in a really good position, particularly with Beanlord coming up on that Shadow. If they can catch Volpe off guard while trying to manage that shield from the Symmetric gun, and they drop that shield, land a big Shadow, that's a fight winner.
That is a big Shadow indeed. They actually managed to catch on to 3. They do get a little bit of follow-up there. Ring going down, that's a lot of healing loss now for Ambition Desire. House did catch on to XDC right now, and LZT goes down to Deadly Color. House found Doggo as well, so both supports down now from the side of Ace Kings, as Sir Laptop finds Volpe, but this fight has gone on for too long, and with no supports, they're not going to be able to stay sustained enough. 88%, this is the last fight now for Ace Kings.
You hit the nail on the head there, Harry. As soon as the supports are out of the equation, the longer the fight goes, the team with more support will just win through attrition. This is a final fight for Ace Kings.
Yeah, and they try and engage with the TP and the Symmetra wall, but they get anti-dated. LZT goes down, and so does Doggo in secret. Beanlord goes down to Volpe, and Sir Laptop is the only one to find a kill onto Disco J. He actually manages to find Ren as well. Sir Laptop has stayed on this point and managed to kill both supports. If anyone can touch, they might be able to stall it out a bit longer, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to. That is the first round, going over to Ambition Desire.
Yeah, that one fight where they used 5 ultimates, I was starting to get a little bit worried for them, Harry. I thought maybe they won't have enough to actually finish off the map, but they pulled it out and they got off to an excellent start there on Night Market. And as we head into Control Center next, if they succeeded on the Brawl there, that's every indication that they should succeed on the Brawl as well here. I think we will see a few compositional switch-ups though. I think the Symmetra could definitely be swapped out, but also from the looks of things, LZT going over to the Mei. That is... Oh, and the Junkrat from House as well. So this is going to be a battle of LZT looking for the walls and House just looking for the raw damage. If the Mei of Ace Kings can find a wall target, most likely Volpe because they'll be in the front, and they can isolate that, that'll be really, really brutal.
Yeah, it will be very, very brutal. They do get the wall, but it doesn't really actually manage to catch anyone out. Now, Beanlord is trapped in a little bit of no man's land right now. Barrier's going down on the side of Volpe, and the Immortality Field has been used now on the side of Doggo. So with no Immortality Field, Ace Kings need to be very careful about how aggressive they get into this. That is a very fast Riptile. The point isn't even unlocked yet, House. The LCT goes down to it. So Laptop gets taken down by Great Taco, and House managed to find Beanlord as well. That is an absolutely amazing output of damage right there from House as he gets onto Doggo. Secret gets taken by the Disco J, and that is first cap going to Desire again.
You said it yourself, Harry. That was a ridiculous tire from House there. They were just doing so much damage. And, oh man. And a Riptide. From there, there's just no coming back, really, if you're Ace Kings.
Oh.
And now they're in a wonderful position to just continue holding this choke. The Junkrat spam, the Symmetric Tile is just beaming down anybody who dares walk through that initial gate. Ace Kings are in a really rough spot. How are they going to break it? They need to break through the choke and deal with the Symmetric Tiles. That's their biggest priority. But then they need to not turn their backs because they'll just eat the Junkrat, who is coming up with another Riptide already, as Ren just lands a casual 4-person nade. They decide to get past the choke by telling past it.
Yeah, they tele past it, they're right, but they actually get flank shadowed right there. Nanoboost goes onto Volpe, and another shadow from Beanlord to try and counteract it. Doesn't really matter, as it ends up with a team kill on the side of Ace Kings. Ambition Desire is absolutely destroying on this Reinhardt matchup right now.
Yeah, Volpe showing no signs of uncomfortability whatsoever. And that was the kind of fight that I really want to see more often from Ambition Desire. It was just the 2 ultimates, that's all they needed. They didn't have to use all 5 to find value. The sound barrier engage coming in, they aren't scared of that Riptire at all.
No, they're not scared of that Riptire at all, but they probably should be. His House actually pops it right now. It's trying to get some value, and it actually managed to find both supports. House with an outstanding Riptire value right there. LZT goes down, and that was really bizarre. They seemed to use their ults really, really early, and they just got kited.
Yeah, I understand the initiative of wanting to engage with the sound barrier because it lets them just get closer to the point. But by that point, they get to the objective itself, and they have wasted that ultimate because the Junkrat just eats through those temporary shields. I think that was a bit of a poor timed ultimate, but Disco J will hoping not to replicate that one. But the question is, will they be even to top the point? Volpe is gatekeeping them.
They do manage to get onto the point. XDC sacrifices his life to touch. Big Shadow now coming in though to maintain difference. And Deadly Color with the bomb secures the 3K. And that will secure the round in the map for the side of Ambition Desire. Great fight coming out from them.
Victory.
In that little space there, that was ridiculous from Volpe and Deadly Color. I think Deadly Color got the kill credit there, but a lot of that does have to go to Volpe and just holding them in place in that small corridor where they couldn't escape the nuke. We'll get to see that from Deadly Color's perspective here as well.
Yeah, we
so nice because they couldn't back up because they'd be backing up into it as well. The slam to drop, so nice all the way through. And that is 1-0 to Ambition Desire. They showed a few signs of hesitation there on Night Market. But after that, they were just pedal to the metal all the way. And they didn't look back once, Harry. And now going into map 2, Ace Kings is the map pick. We were talking about how maybe going to Kings would be good. Going to Kings Row would be good for Kings, as Desire mightn't be as good on the run because Volpe is not integrated into this roster, but that doesn't seem to be an issue at all. But despite that, that is where we will be heading. We are going to Kings Row, so expect to see some more Reinhardt. I think the Junkrat from House can definitely still roll here, particularly on the defense, just spamming through those chokes and tight corridors. Absolutely a great pick. I'm now turning my attention a bit more to LZT. They need to find some more value out of that Mei. There was one wall at the very, very start of Control Center where they kind of half-walled off Volpe, but they weren't fully able to capitalize off it. And other than that, I didn't see that Mei wall get nearly as much value as it should be. And without the Mei wall, it's just kind of a dead weight, that character. So they need to pick it up or maybe go for a Hero Assault, maybe a Junkrat of their own. Maybe this is a time for LZT to whip out the Genji that they are famed for, I guess, and have the whole compositional swap up go over to dive.
Yeah, I think you could see it there. They were running the Zarya on Control Center, so there was really nothing to eat any of the spam damage that was actually just coming through to them. They were kind of trying to rely on the Zarya damage without getting close to them, if that makes sense. So they were never actually able to get in. It was really good disengages coming up from Desire throughout all of that. Realistically speaking, I'd like to see more D.Va played over Zarya. I think it's just a more versatile character. I think Defense Matrix is still one of, if not the best abilities in the game. I mean, just the ability to negate ultimates with it is insane. It's on a 1 second cooldown. You can eat any projectile ultimates and just any projectiles in general. So I would like to see more D.Va get played from Kings. And I think they looked a lot more competitive when they played the D.Va on Night Market there.
Yeah, fair enough. We're having this discussion the other week on Ascent, me and Stranger were, and we concluded that, yeah, that Defense Matrix, having it online essentially all the time, is just such a big deal in protecting the Reinhardt. So that is definitely the way to go. The other big difference between these two rosters was actually the main supports. Doggo, she was opting for the Baptiste a lot of the time, while Ren was going for the Ana. It's Doggo is an Ana play. That's what we were told their favorite hero in the opening kind of segment of this show was Ana. And I don't know why they aren't going to that. They had a few really nice immortality fields, one in particular on Control Center, where they put it in a place where it just couldn't be shot, and it gained the Bean Lord so much room to just swing and get a boatload of ultimate charge, quite frankly. So besides that, though, I haven't seen the Baptiste getting a whole lot done. Maybe they would benefit more from some anti-nades, because Ren has been landing a few nice ones of their own throughout this series.
Yeah, Ren has been landing a lot. You are completely correct. And I think not having that D.Va really helps Ren out a lot. We see the Zarya coming out on the side of Desire here, and they're actually just getting straight into it. Maywall and the McCree straight into it. They couldn't get a pick with the Hanzo early, so this fight might be a disaster straight away. Deadly Color managed to find Bean Lord, and XDC goes down to House. Ren takes out Sir Laptop on that D.Va, and it's just going to be a steamroll right here as Desire move on to point A of Kings Row. That is as fast as you like.
Yeah, like, essentially a 30-second push on A, that is not something you will ever complain about. They just moved so well together. They were like one coordinated unit within that Lucio speed boost, and as soon as they got onto the Bean Lord, they just didn't quite have the peel to keep them up. And I love how far forward they're going. They've left one player behind on the cart just to cap it. That's the Ana. But everybody else is up taking this fight. Volpe does need to be careful though, especially since they've got walled off.
Oh, that is a massive shadow though coming up from Volpe. He knew he was going to go down, so he tried to make a little bit more space for his team so they could keep the pace going. Great Taco did manage to take out his main counterpart in LZT, but goes down to Secret with a straight headshot. Now they're going to be trying to get out using the Lucio speed boost, and Zario is going to be able to keep that high energy and a lot of that damage. Secret does take out Disco though, so they're going to lose a lot of their mobility. High Noon from House though, around the corner, trying to get as much value as he can from this ultimate right here, but he's unable to really get anything. Bean Lord with a pin does get anti-nated, and the Nanover's coming up, but a big shadow now from Bean Lord with the window, trying to fire strike through it. Dragon Strike is also invested for Volpe, managed to find Doggo. House found Bean Lord in the meantime, but Secret found Volpe. This fight has been an absolute slobber knocker right now, going back and forth, but eventually Ace Kings are going to have to pull back.
Yeah, they do. But I want to give props to Secret there. They had a sick dragon just going all the way through that point A choke, point A to point B choke, and it meant that Volpe was isolated from their supports, and that eventually resulted in their death. It doesn't amount to much, especially with that pick onto Secret either way. So now this next fight, the final fight on point B potentially, is going to be a 5v6.
Yeah, and that is a Graviton Surge. There is a Blizzard layered on top of it as well, and the self-destruct from Sir Laptop didn't really find anything. Sir Laptop went down to the Blizzard, and it is just a massacre right now. This is absolutely insane time coming into Kings Row. They have 5 minutes 30 seconds for point 3. That's just filthy.
Yeah, you don't see that every day of the week, do you? That is a mad time bank. But they need to continue to take advantage of it. This next fight is going to be their biggest challenge yet, Harry. They will be coming up against the Blizzard from LZT. And what are they going to do about it? They don't have a beat to counter it. They don't have a Diva Dismiss Matrix to eat it. They're just going to have to dodge it or sustain through it somehow by Ren not getting frozen. This is going to be a really big challenge.
That is how they're going to get out of it. They're just going to walk away. They actually just ran away from the Blizzard. No one really got caught in it. It's a lot of pressure, though, coming in, and Disco gets booped off. House with the Deadeye, though, managed to find Doggo, so that's a lot of sustain heals going down, and the Grey Dragon Strike from Secret, again, takes Volpe out of that fight, straight away separating them from the rest of the team. So Laptop does get taken out of their Diva mech very late into that fight, so it could be a quick re-engage coming in from Ambition Desire.
Yeah, so Laptop in a bit of a dilemma there. Do they just continue to farm for their ultimate, which it looks like they're going to do, because they're already close to it. They could have jumped off the map and gone for a reset there, because I think they would have had the time. But yeah, that was a great avoidance of that Blizzard there. Just the speed read from Disco proved enough.
Ooh. That is a great window from the high ground right there, and a great headshot from Secret as we see the shadow now coming down just to clean this fight up. Don't know if it was necessarily needed, but it looked flashy anyway as they managed to take out the entirety of Ambition Desire, except for Great Taco, who kind of lingers behind for a little bit.
Yeah, the May gets picked off a little bit later, just securing that last bit of ultimate charge towards their Blizzard. That was a really nice amplification matrix there. It secured the pick as soon as it went up. And that is the best time to get value out of that amplification matrix. Oh my god, that's a shadow!
Great boot from Disco, actually managed to take out LZT, but a great response with a Dragon Strike from Secret, managed to take out Disco, and Volpe goes down to a boot from XDC. Doggo found Deadly Color, it's a Laptop with the bomb found Ren. Doggo gets Kraytaku as well, and just like that, they managed to hold on to this point. Ace Kings with a great defense, despite the massive shadow coming out from Volpe.
Yeah, they've really slowed the momentum of Ambition Desire down here. And they are just holding this corner, and they are back on their feet, which is a really great sign for them. I think a big part of that is these high grounds that both Doggo and Secret have been exploiting consistently. And oh no, Volpe just went off the map.
Volpe, no. No, that is not what you want to see. That's another boop off the map, I think. Yeah, Doggo goes off the map. There's a lot of sustained healing going down now for the side of Ace Kings. They may need to invest some ultimates if they can build them up quickly, but XTC gets taken down. Now it's the May ultimate coming out, and they're going to try and charge out, but he gets Graviton Surge back into it. LZT, using his Ice Block to try and stay alive, gets eventually taken down by Deadly Color on a pile drive in the back corner right there from Volpe, sets up a kill onto Zer Laptop. They're going to have to swap and then swap back to get back into their Diva mech.
I don't even know if they'll be able to touch. Volpe is going to be gatekeeping from the outside, and it is the Beanlord just sacrificing themselves in to try and get him the objective whatsoever.
Yeah, great peel actually coming out to keep them alive, but Disco J managed to get a boop onto LZT. That's another boop from XCC, and Disco J gets 2 more! Disco on the Lucio has been absolutely insane. Secret and Doggo go off the map. Disco finds XTC as well. This support is bloodthirsty, and that is what you want to see.
Complete.
What a fight from Disco! The opposition Lucio is complimenting them as well in chat. That was absurd. That had to be like 4 kills. There might have been a 5th in there, like looking back to the very start of that final fight of Point C. And that is the kind of fight-winning play from supports that you don't get to see all that often, but when you do, it really blows your mind. They are a huge reason that Ambition Desire took that fight there. I think they would have either way. They were in a really nice spot, but those boops just cleaned it up. Those are the moments you dream of as a Lucio player. Also, there's a whole lot of boops going on in general from both sides. XCC not missing out on the action either, and we do love to see the supports getting into it. I think LZT really, particularly on that stint in Point C where they were defending quite well, they really found their footing on the Mei. And also the Secret Hanzo was quite pog as well. They got a lot of value out of that. But it looks like this time around they might be opting for the different sniper. But they do have a little bit of time to swap around. But we do get to have a good hard look at the defense here. Excuse me, Cray Taco will be on the Mei. So as always, they'll be looking for those walls at either point towards the objective. House on the Cassidy is going to be big as well. I don't know if they are anticipating a Genji of sorts, because that is a signature pick of LZT. So maybe that is why the Cassidy is coming out here. Or they could just want to provide a little bit more support on the Ana and the Lucio.
I think it is just that either extra little bit of support or extra bit of brawling potential. The mid-range map that is King's Road probably just allows Cassidy to get a lot of value in. They actually get through the choke point very cleanly. Great teamwork coming out, and we see the flashbang come out, but it doesn't really connect to the Volpe charge as well. But again, they can't really find Volpe despite the great Mei wall that came out from LZT. Doggo is the one who goes down, and without that Baptiste, it's going to be so hard for the side of Ace Kings to actually push through. Beanlord goes down to Deadly Collar, and it's going to be a pin across the map from Volpe trying to find someone with it. So Laptop did find Deadly Collar, and Secret found House in the Cassidy 1v1. Now it's going to be LZT just trying to get the freeze, using the ice block to stay alive for as long as he can. Maybe trying to find an extra kill. They do have the respawn advantage. But with Deadly Collar getting back into the mech, it is just going to be a 5v6, and with the Lucio taxiing back to Cassidy, will be a 6v6.
Yeah, this fight will be back on its feet pretty soon, but that was a beautiful counter Mei wall from Cray Taco there. Volpe was the one who was first walled up, and they were in actually a little bit of a spot of bother, but it was Cray Taco who came in with the save with the really nice defensive Mei wall to save their Ryan.
Yeah, it was a great defensive Mei wall. And speaking of defensive Mei walls, great work from XCT actually, trying to keep Beanlord alive, and it's Disco who goes down first. Volpe also goes down to XDC. Crazy Taco found Doggo though, so that's a lot of sustained healing gone, but it might not matter in the end. The self-destruct goes into the back line. House found Beanlord, has that high noon available. Will he use it to try and keep this team in this fight? It might. Crazy Taco found Secret, and they're going to use the Blizzard on the point. It doesn't get eaten. That was so ballsy coming up from Crazy Taco. And House found XTC. Anthony coming in now on to Laptop means they're going to get D-Mech. And that is a great recontest coming up from the side of Ambition Desire. They're going to be able to hold first point still. 5 ultimates on the side of Ace Kings though.
Ballsy is definitely the word I would use to sum up that ultimate there, Harry. And you could see Sir Laptop swinging around with that defense matrix, trying to just find that snowball in the air, but they just couldn't quite get it done, which is actually really unfortunate. And that was a fight-winning Blizzard to turn around. Great beautiful Mei wall. The Zarya gets trapped off.
Yeah, that is a great Mei wall indeed. You're right. Shadow comes down now, and a counter Shadow finds onto Volpe. There's going to be a pin from Beanlord. And Secret with the high noon managed to find both tanks. That is great value from the ultimate. House did find XTC, and both sound barriers were traded out. It still looks in favor of Ace Kings right now, and Cray Taco is trapped in the back line. 1v1ing Azaria. Secret finds Ren. LZT found Disco, and LZT found House as well. Cray Taco is still in that back line, but will eventually be taken out when they make their way to point. Doggo takes the kill. Credit.
Finally, Ace Kings getting point A on the board. Obviously not nearly as quick as their counterparts did, but it is there nonetheless. Quick observation here, Harry. I think that, I know that, that was the fight that they won, and that was also the fight that Doggo didn't die right off the bat. A fair few fights, particularly on King's Road, Doggo has been that initial pick, and that is the worst possible person you can lose, that Baptiste. So preventing that fight was what allowed them to keep the healing up and make that fight a lot more contestable and winnable in general.
Yeah, most definitely. It's great play right there. Great amplification matrix from Doggo there. Actually managed to help take out Volpe straight away. As we see the Blizzard coming in and manages to freeze up Ren, and they're going to be able to take him out. But Beanlord got taken out from House. So Laptop managed to find Deadly Collar and take them out as well. Disco J dies on the point, and that is going to be a full reset from the side of Ambition Desire. This is now Ace's fight to win. They should be able to get second point with a little bit of momentum and with some ultimates coming up.
Yeah, but there's ultimates on the other side as well, Harry. The Blizzard Cray Taco, excuse me. They used it so well on point A, I expect nothing less from them in point B, and they really don't have anything to counter it.
High Noon actually coming out now. Finds Ren. That is huge. Ren had the nano boost right there. Secret with the House with the High Noon as well. Manages to find no one, and now Beanlord is kind of trapped in the corner. Gets Maywalled off and tries to pin across. Volpe goes down. That is a massive pick right there. Remix gets denied by XDC. The main supports of both teams have been absolutely insane this game and finding these frag kills right here. XDC is chasing after a main right now. That is how bloodthirsty these supports are. Doggo is the one who takes it out, and that is going to be second point going over to Ace Kings.
Yeah, the Cassie might even be flirting with their life there, and they are. I don't think it matters much at the end of the day, but that was a huge amount of peel going onto Beanlord, and it was actually successful. There was a really nice immortality field in there from Doggo that kept Beanlord alive at the start of that fight, and even around that Maywall that really should have resulted in their death. They were just kept alive. The Reinhardt of Beanlord was just kept with more than 0 HP, and they were just able to go rampant once that Maywall was dropped, and they'll continue to do so into this grab.
Great shadow though, stopping a lot of the aggression onto the Graviton Surge right there in the window, but a great counter shadow onto Volpe straight away. Volpe needs to be very careful. He has been counter shadowed far too many times this round. Nano Boost goes onto him from Ren, but then really unable to secure any kills. That's a lot of ultimates with no kills right there. Deadly Color gets very low, actually gets D-Mech, and XDC goes down. Blizzard coming up from LZT right there, separates the Reinhardt and the Lucio, and Ren goes down. Disco J goes down now as well, and Volpe is going to fall very, very low. Manages to get to the Mega Health pack, and this is taken down, but still also found Great Taco. Now they're going to be trying to push in with the Maywall there. They found Volpe, and they're going to be able to take Deadly Color out before they get back into mech. So Laptop has been an absolute tear here. Doggo keeping the rest of the team alive. Secret with the High Noon managed to find Disco J, and they're going to cut point with a better time bank than Ambition Desire.
How did they turn that around? How did they end up with a better time bank? That is absurd. I think the big answer to that one is, I guess the word would be consistency. They made up for that slower point A with a much quicker point C, and that kind of evened itself out just in their favor. At the end of the day, 2 seconds is nothing, but it is a feat nonetheless that we should absolutely acknowledge. Yeah, Doggo just stayed alive so much more frequently on that offense, and they were able to get way more value. The rest of the team was able to get more heals, and they could just fight more, really. They could stay alive for longer, had more chances to win the fight, and they took advantage of it. The Doggo really needs to continue that really good form that she found on the offense there, and if they can continue to stay alive, that could be the turnaround of this series that we start to see. That'd actually be really sick if it was House going over to the Doomfist at the moment to try and focus off that BAP as a little bit of a dive target. I do not think that will be the play though. I think the hit scan has been really consistent for them, and they should probably stick in that sort of direction. Both Mays, again, it is a May versus May battle, and the Maywalls have been really good from both sides, particularly on that second round. LZT really picking up the game, as I said that they had to, absolutely making me eat my words. So this is going to be a really exciting first fight. And the Doomfist is being stuck to. They are going to try and find the Baptiste as they flank through Hotel. Yeah, they are going to go through Hotel, but House, curiously, doesn't actually go through Hotel and manages to get straight onto Disco. And Mortality Field is used though, so Disco manages to stay alive. That is a lot of sustained healing, and in the longer fight, it is going to be so much worse for the side of Ambition Desire. XDC actually manages to go down here though, so this is really bad, but a great pin from Beanlord finds Disco J. Great Taco found Doggo, and that's no healing now. Poster board's taken down for the side of Ace King.
They need to be very careful. Secret does found a house, but the respawn advantage is in favor of Ambition Desire right now as they start to push back in onto the point. Maywall coming out now.
Yeah, Beanlord's in actually a really tricky spot. They are going to pay with their life for that one, Harry. That is a great opportunity for Ace Kings to just keep on retreating, I guess.
Yeah, no, they are definitely retreating after that. That was a great Maywall to actually end that fight. Double flashbang there, trying to stop the advance. They're actually going to be able to get out a fair bit, but Beanlord has charged onto the other side. They managed to flank around the enemy Reinhardt. Now he has to go through the bar to try and get the Mega Hot back. They're going to be able to stay alive for a little bit longer, but not for too much longer. Charge coming in, doesn't really find anything, but Disco J goes down. LCT managed to find Deadly Colorado. It's going to be a blizzard now from the side of Cray Taco. Shatter coming out from Volpe, doesn't really manage to find anything, and House is in the backline right now, trying to duel off with two people. He goes down. No, he actually managed to take out Secret and gets out alive. Volpe managed to take out Beanlord, and it is going to be House and Volpe leading the charge for Desire.
They were so lucky to stay alive during that while Ren was out of action on the payload capping. So that is a great fight for Ambition Desire. And they're trying to take this high ground. It looks like it's just going to be the Doomfist up there. They'll be able to engage from this high ground with the Seismic Slam. If they can land that pick onto Doggo and take out that Immortality field, that leaves the Nano Ryan to get so much value.
It does, but House gets taken down. He went for the McCree instead. Huge Shatter comes out, manages to find three. The Nano boosted Dario gets taken down very, very quickly right there. Deadly Color going down. Secret with the high noon managed to find Volpe, and the Beanlord managed to find Ren in the backline. Blizzard onto card just for good measure, just to end this round. Meteor Strike trying to touch point in desperation. Will not get there. And that is where Desire's second offense is going to end.
Secret did their job to a T on the Cassidy there, Harry. They were dived by the Doomfist, shut them down with the stun, with the left clicks, and from there, they were just, the Cassidy was still alive. The rest of the team of Ace Kings was in a better position to capitalize, and Desire was just not in the right spot because they obviously thought that Doomfist would still be alive, and it just really compromised the rest of their offense there, and it did result in a fight loss. So the win condition to even up this series for Ace Kings is abundantly clear at the moment. They just need to get it part way through point B, and they have evened up this series. And this would be the time for a bold composition swap from the offense. A few things are being teased, but we might have to come back to that one.
Yeah,
really?
I'm not even going to begin talking about their composition right now. I feel like we're being bamboozled, Nikki.
Yeah, absolutely, but we can't be being bamboozled by this defense, right? Volpe going for the defensive wrecking ball. And if this poke composition from Ace Kings does come through, the lack of shield is really going to hurt the rest of Ambition Desire. So I don't know what the idea behind this wrecking ball really is. They might just be able to isolate Doggo and think that that fight will be able to turn up from there by forcing the 5v5 without heals. But I don't think that that is a solid enough strategy to actually execute. The Junkrat trap from House is taken out right off the bat, not being neglected there. And Volpe is just swinging around the pole.
Yeah, I mean, this is good, though, because Volpe, as long as he doesn't get stunned up like he actually does right there, he falls below half health, and now they have to use nade defensively. With no offensive prowess right now, it's going to be very hard to get a good engage, but we see, Cray Taco actually on the high ground taking out that Immortality field, and this fight has gone on for a very long time. This is much better for the defense on the side of Ambition Desire. Ren managed to take out Beanlord with a well-placed anti-nade as well, giving a little bit of support and forcing the rest of the team to back out right there. They can't really find any more kills, but as I say that, so Laptop with a right click managed to find House. This is a massive re-engage attempt coming in now.
Ambition Desire have no Mei and no Reinhardt, and I think Ace Kings really need to exploit that by just speeding straight to the point, and that is exactly what they are doing now. They now have all of the room in the world to work with, but Cray Taco is up on the high ground, so they will need to watch out.
Yeah, Cray Taco has managed to find two. Both supports have gone down, and the Nano Boost onto Volpe means that he's going to stay alive for a very long time. Cray Taco managed to find Secret as well. He's still alive. What are you doing, Cray Taco? Can you stay alive for a little bit longer? No, you cannot. Still Laptop managed to find the Riptile right there, and Cray Taco goes down to LCT. That is going to be point A, going over to the side of Ace Kings. I don't think there's going to be any attempt for a recontest here.
The Diva's thinking about it, but they get put back. Oh no, that means the rest of Ambition Desire are in such a bad position. They're all going to get picked off, and so much progress from point B is going to be given for free. That is such a great boot from XVC. That is a fight-winning boot, potentially map-winning boot, as the Bean Lord is already in the golden box of victory. But on point 8, that was such a good identification of the win condition from Ace Kings. They realized what they did wrong in the first fight, and they switched it around and played it perfectly in that second one. Kreitake tried their best to clutch it up, but even the likes of them on the Hanzo just wasn't enough. There are so many ultimates in this next fight, but most of them are on the side of Ace Kings. This looks really winnable for them.
It does look very winnable, but this Dragon Strike could prove deadly. They need to get onto the point. It's a big shatter, and the Dragon Strike actually comes in straight onto the point. As we see, Sound Barriers traded out from both sides. Take over the High Noon, managed to find Disco and Deadly Color. Deadly Color gets taken out by Bean Lord, swinging around, and that is now a 2-for-0 trade right there. Kreitake goes down, and it's going to be a Riptire going onto the point right now, but it gets taken out by Secret. Secret finding the Riptire. That is going to be the map going over to Ace Kings. We tie the series up.
Holy dooly, Harry. That was an absolutely insane map. That was so much fun to watch. Man, Ace Kings really put on a show, and we get to see this like 4 or 5k, whatever it was, from Disco. Somebody in chat keep count on this one.
There we go. There's one. Oh, there's 2 and 3. Does he get the 4? Oh, he does get the 4. I'm pretty sure he gets the Lucio there as well. That is some insane main support gameplay coming out from the side of both teams, really. But towards the end, it was XDC who clutched it up. And like you said, it was a map-winning boop in the end because they managed to get those stagger kills. And spawning at the end of 3rd point where you've got to try and get back to the start of the 2nd point hold, it's a long journey.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of a while. Like, you better bring a packed lunch or something. I'm not too sure. And if that contest was made, we're getting into some hypotheticals here, but if that contest was made, that was Deadly Color, and I'm pretty sure House was there on the contest as well. Who knows? They could have turned that fight. There wasn't an abundance of people from Ace Kings on the point there. That was definitely turnable. XDC doing a wonderful job gatekeeping there, and they should get so much credit as we lit apart map 2 there. I'm just a bit lost for words. There was so much to talk about. In that last fight, there was a dragon that came through from, I believe it was Kreitake on the Hanzo, and there was the immortality field and the sound barrier to keep everybody alive straight away. Really well done, knowing that that is all they had to save their ultimates for, because there weren't any other big threats on the field, especially in that really frantic overtime situation. And it just allowed everybody to stay on the point. They negated Volpe's minefields really well as well. That could have been quite the hindrance if Volpe like isolated the Bean Lord around the corner where Doggo couldn't quite find LOS to get the heals off. But it was really nicely done all the way around.
It was very nicely done all the way around. And now moving on to our next map, it is going to be Escort. What are you thinking now? Because what we thought coming into this was that the Reinhardt matchup wasn't in favor of Ace Kings, but they've just proved that they can take that Reinhardt matchup and they can play the Reinhardt into the ball compositions. So now for Desire, you have to be feeling a little bit lower in momentum than you were, especially after losing the map, obviously. But where do you go from here if you're Desire?
Well, you could think about it in 2 ways. You could say, okay, I want Disco to get boops, let's go to Rialto. Or you could think, I want Cray on that Hanzo, let's go to Junkertown. I think that the Junkertown pick is the more sensible option. It also might give Volpe the opportunity to play a bit more of that Wrecking Ball, which they, towards the end of that map, they really wanted to be on. They wanted off of that Ryan. So I think for that reason, it could be the Junkertown pick that would benefit Ambition Desire the most. And it is their map pick. And the Junkrat from House, that could absolutely come out there. Ren on the Ana, there's so many long sightlines that she can just continue to play. So I think Junkertown should be the way to go, but there actually seems to be a little bit of indecision.
Yeah, it does seem to be a lot of indecision. I think I fully agree with you. I think that Junkertown is definitely where they should go, because especially if you think back to what we saw when we were looking at the rosters, House is a crazy good Widowmaker. You know, that was his favorite hero. That was the hero that he was highlighted on at the start of this series. So maybe we go to Junkertown. Maybe we see the double sniper come out. It's all purely hypothetical, obviously. But
no, it isn't. We are going to Junkertown.
Oh, we are going to Junkertown. Well then, no longer hypothetical. Junkertown. I think this is the best. I think this is the best thing that they can do. I really do.
Yeah, and we look at the theoretical ideal composition for Ambition Desire indicated by their hero picks that we saw at the start of the segment. With the Wrecking Ball, Diva, Widow, Hanzo, Lucio, and Ana. That composition itself, they could pull that out on Junkertown and it would fit just fine. The double sniper is going to be really brutal if they do bring it to Junkertown, and I really hope they do, because it could really put a thorn in the side of Ace Kings, and it will have to force them up of how they play. And that could actually be really good, because if they play that more pick-heavy composition, Harry, and they find Doggo at the start of that fight, that seemed to be the key to their success at the start of King's Row. And as soon as that stopped, it seemed to be the catalyst for them succeeding for the rest of the map. So maybe they could go for a really pick-heavy composition, put Deadly Color on the Roadhog even, for all I know, and just focus that map, get that first pick, because the first pick is just so important in this series, and just in Overwatch in general, really. First pick, there's some absurd team fight rates for how you go after you've lost that first pick. So it's definitely an important factor that they could pull out.
It definitely is an important factor they could pull out. And Junkertown is actually one of those maps where Roadhog can be very useful. And we see straight away, this could be a little bit of a bait because they are on the attack, so they can swap at any time. But we are looking at a Genji coming out from Cray Taco, and House has gone over to that Widowmaker. So we might see something extremely new from them just straight away. Ren going over to the Baptiste here rather than the Ana and the Brigitte from Disco. No, there we go. We see the Ana from Ren.
Yeah,
and on the other side, double shield.
Yeah, Ana makes a lot of sense with the Nanoblade. And we are seeing the poke composition that we kind of hypothesized we could see out of Ambition Desire. We are instead seeing out of the defense. So up on this high ground here, the two long-range DPS of the Hanzo and the Soldier 76 will just be able to position themselves behind the two shields and just pour in a lot of damage to anybody trying to contest the cart. And since there is no shields for the offense, they will just have to take that damage to the face and hope for the best. But what a rollout that was from Volpe. Did you see that?
I did indeed. That was really impressive. And they get onto the high ground almost straight away. They're just contesting this high ground so well. We see House actually swapping over to the Doomfist, deciding he didn't really want to play Widowmaker into two shields. I don't blame him too much. Volpe has actually created so much space on this Wrecking Ball right here. That is insane. And he's just playing it so well. He does need to be careful because Soldier does have a lot of that sustained damage that could be really, really bad for the Wrecking Ball right there. And it's LZT finding Cray Tarko that starts off this fight right here. House trying to get the engage onto the rest of the team, but he finds the Orisa. Beanlord goes down very, very early in that fight, and without the Orisa, they're going to struggle to keep any positioning. Doggo goes down as well, but Secret managed to find Ren and Deadly Color as well on that Hanzo. So Laptop finishing off the Baby Diva there, but House has found Secret, and XTC going down to Volpe right there is really, really bad. LZT goes down to Cray Tarko. It's a Laptop surviving for so long will not matter in the end as you fall to Desire as they roll through first point.
Yeah, the second Ace Kings find themselves out of position, it puts Desire in a really nice spot to capitalize on everybody. Oh, that's a nice shot. But yeah, everybody from the defense was out of position, and the dives were just there, cleaning every individual up. Really nice stuff.
Yeah, that is a great minefield actually coming up from Volpe. They managed to find Doggo, and they found LZT as well. House managed to find Beanlord, and Secret goes down after using his Dragon Strike to take out Ren. That is a very late Graviton Flux, but it forces out the sound barrier, I guess. But they're not going to be able to keep this first point as it's just Sir Laptop by themselves as they will eventually fall. Point one claimed for Desire quite quickly.
Yeah, point A is in the books, and point B could be following suit rather quickly. That will be slightly halted by Disco J getting picked off. I assume there was a headshot in there from Secret and Beanlord was cleaning up. But this next fight could actually be really bad for Ace Kings. The Nanoblade combo is online, and if Volpe engages with that as well, it will all be down to Doggo landing that Immortality field. So
yeah, and that's great play. That's a great play from Volpe. They forced out the Valkyrie right there, and now they're trying to just engage on that high ground.
Yeah, if they force out this Immortality field, the Nanoblade will be free. That is what Volpe is going for.
Yeah, well, there's the Nanoblade. The Immortality field has been used, and they're not really finding anything. This is great peel onto Sir Laptop. Sir Laptop eventually going down, but no kills from the Nanoblade right there. Volpe did find LZT and House found XTC as well. Crazy Darker found Secret in the old spawn right there, and they continue to move this point forward. Volpe has been insane on this Wrecking Ball. He's created so much space, and he almost has another minefield.
The minefield will be really good going into the end of point C here because they can either put it in the choke and to stop anybody from touching, or they can put it on the payload and make payload quite literally a minefield for the opposition to walk through. I don't think they'll have to consider either option though, because it looks like they aren't even going for a contest. But the Wrecking Ball being in position, they will still be able to get an immense amount of value out of that ultimate going into point C. Looking over the other side though, that is the counter main tank ultimate, I guess, online, the Supercharger. The Supercharger going into both the hit scans could be really, really good, but not with Secret down.
No, Secret tried to hide between both shields and got caught between both of them. So he ends up going down to the self-destruct, and Deadly Color managed to find Bean Lord. This is just really scrappy engages, and it seems like that Ace Kings just can't react in time. House managed to find 4 in that fight, and he is absolutely tearing everything apart on his Doomfist. Sir Laptop is going to get staggered out yet again. Dragon Strike actually used to try and peel for it, but I mean, it's just a waste in the end. Secret went down as well.
Yeah, I hope that is just for a swap, may as well pull out the ultimate. And that is, they are going over to Cassidy. Makes a lot of sense. The Flashbang, not only will that counter House on the Doomfist, but it will also counter Kraitako. The other side of that coin is, if both the DPS come on the Cassidy from alternating sides, you can only use that Flashbang on one player, and that could put them in a really rough spot, and the Cassidy down is just a 5v6 from there.
Yeah, Meteor Strike actually used because he managed to get Flashbangs and then almost taken out. As we see, LZT using the tack visor from the high ground with the amplification matrix, but he's been flanked right now by Crazy Taco. He does manage to find Disco J with the tack visor right there, and they're still managing to stay on point right now. Togo gets the contest right there, and with the Valkyrie coming out from XDC, they're going to be able to stay alive for a little bit longer. Deadly Color goes down to a flashbang from Secret on the Cassidy, but House managed to find him. Now they're just trying to contest point, and a great resurrect coming in from XDC means Togo is back alive, and we'll be able to use the Immortality Field to stay alive for a little bit longer. V-Lord coming back on the Wrecking Ball, and we see Sir Laptop coming back on the Winston. They're just trying to stall this out for as long as they really can. Crazy Doggo managed to find Sir Laptop, but it's still Doggo staying alive on point for so long. Eventually goes down, but maybe he's done enough to stall out for a little bit longer for the rest of his team to get in there. They do need to stay on this point though, as we see XTC on the Brigadier get taken down. Now it's going to be the Bean Lord just swinging around on point, trying to stay alive for as long as he can, but he goes down eventually to House. Now it's going to be Sir Laptop getting taken down by Deadly Color, and that is going to be the end of Junkertown attack for Desire.
Harry, give yourself some time, man. Get some water, get your voice back. There was so much going on in that fight, and you did a brilliant job of covering it all. Yeah, completing Junkertown anytime at the bank, that is a very good kind of checkpoint there at the end of the day. Completing Junkertown is no easy feat, and having that full 3 on the board means that the worst that can happen is they go to extra time, and if they do, it'll be very unlikely that Ace Kings pull up with more than 241. So yeah, Ambition Desire are in a wonderful spot going into the rest of this map and ready to kind of bounce back from King's Row. I'm still surprised on the defense here that we aren't seeing a bit more of that double sniper. To be fair, the dive did work wonders, but I think on the defense, it might struggle just a little bit more. The offense has that payload to kind of build around and build their positioning around. They can just follow it, gives them, I guess, a little bit of protection from the Doomfist. Then the heals are there as well. But everybody in that one place is a lot harder for the Doomfist and the Genji to kind of cut through individually. So Volpe will definitely have to get a little bit more involved, as will Deadly Color. On the offense, we are seeing double sniper, and I like this. And Sir Laptop on the Roadhog instead of swapping to the Sigma. But the double sniper, if they can take 2 conflicting sightlines and just cover as much of the map with their crosshairs as they can, off to a brilliant start, they're just going to secure so much space for their team by covering all of the sightlines.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a little bit of disconnect between Volpe and House right there. House really wanted that kill on the Hanzo right there, and Deadly Color actually just goes down on point, trying to stall it out. LZT found Disco J on the Widowmaker, and that is going to be the first of hopefully many headshots if you are Ace Kings right there. And we see now XTC pulling out the pistol, trying to get into some kills right there, and House gets taken down by Sir Laptop, trying to get onto the Widowmaker right there. Secret gets taken down by Volpe, and that's a really good kill if you are Volpe, because it stops a lot of that damage. Great rock from Sir Laptop, stopping the pile driver right there, and Secret gets revenge after being resurrected. Now they're going to be pushing forward on this payload.
That was great all the way around from the offense. The snipers definitely did their work. And the tanks are doing a really good job of countering Volpe on the Wrecking Ball. There's so much CC that they have to deal with. The Fortify, the Halt, the Sigma Rock. There's just so much of Volpe to work around, and they're really struggling with it so far. They're going to have to change something up, and maybe that pick onto the Mercy could be it.
Yeah, but they don't actually get it. That is really good avoid from XDC. As I say that, a little bit of a caster curse. He goes down, but Disco Jade goes down as well. House gets onto LZT, and it's going to be a Graviton Flux that manages to find nothing right there. Nano Boost onto the Diva of Deadly Color right there. Manages to keep them alive. Soulaptor goes down, Secret goes down, and Beanlord goes down. And that is going to be the end of the push on first point right here. Do we see a composition swap? We do. Cassidy coming out from Secret.
That's just to add more pressure to the DPS and the Wrecking Ball as well. It makes a lot of sense. But interestingly to me, Harry, is that fight was an exact replica of what we saw from Ambition Desire on their offense. The fight in that kind of area of point A, it devolved. Kings were all out of position, and they had really good focus fire to clean everybody up, and they did it perfection. LZT did not last long to benefit from that ult at all.
No, he did not. And XDC tried to go over and get the resurrect, but got actually stunned out of it by House right there. As we see the minefield coming up from Volpe, actually finds Dogo, and he finds Beanlord as well. His Wrecking Ball play this map has been outstanding. So Laptop falling very low, trying to contest this point, but will eventually go down to the minefield as well. We did see the Meteor Strike come out as well, and Secret fell to that. LZT now making the swap over to the Torbjorn. I like this swap.
Yeah, I guess they can make it work. The turret doesn't really pester those squishy DPS. But I think that a hero swap isn't really what they needed. I think they just need to play closer together. By the end of each fight, there's like 3 or 4 separate skirmishes going on every single time, and that isn't how the composition for Ace Kings wants to play. They want to play together, excluding those snipers who can go out and do their own thing, but the snipers aren't even on the field anymore, so they have no...
You must have... Oh my god! Oh my god, that was an execution of XDC right there. Secret goes down as well, so it's no DPS. Disco finds an environmental or Junkertown right there, so Laptop going off the map. House found LZT, and that is going to be another clean fight win coming out for the side of Ambition Desire.
Oh, this is kind of painful to watch for Ace Kings. They're playing, but they're just making so many swaps to try and figure something out, but they're never actually getting the ultimates to use. And I think that is really killing themselves, quite frankly. They aren't getting any value from their swaps whatsoever. And going into final fight, the Nano Blade is very, very close to being online. And if that Immortality field goes down nearly as quickly as it did last time, that's a very easy defense here for Ambition.
Yeah, that is a nano boost straight onto Crazy Taco without the Blaze. He manages to build it up very, very quickly, and it goes into overtime. LZT did manage to find Volpe, and so Laptop found Crazy Taco. They need a touch point for Volpe from the grave with the minefield. Gets onto both tanks right there. House found Secret with an uppercut right there, and it's just Dogo trying to stall out a point, but they're not going to be able to do it. House managed to take out 3 in this fight, and that is going to be the end of the attack. That is going to be the end of the map. Junkertown will not see past point 1 for Ace Kings.
That is 2-1 to Ambition Desire on the board. A huge amount of credit has to go to Volpe there on their signature Wrecking Ball. I think they are the big reason that Kings always found themselves so split. Because that disruption, that hard crowd control with the Wrecking Ball just booping everybody around. Oh no, is this going to be a spawn, dragon spawn? Oh no. Oh! That's a little bit filthy.
Just go.
Is that it?
That's it. That's it. That's all we get to see. We don't need to see anymore. We know what he can do on that Hanzo.
No,
but no, I completely agree with you on that point that Volpe on that Wrecking Ball was causing so much disruption and so many engage opportunities for his Doomfist and for his Genji. It was just really difficult for Kings to try and deal with it because they never really made the attempt to deal with it in any meaningful way other than comp swaps. So I don't know about you, but I think they need to try and find that way to get back into their comms and just stay together.
Yeah, staying together, both, I guess, physically and literally in this case for them, Harry. Maybe returning a little bit to the micro and just figuring out what they want to do as a composition instead of rock paper scissoring the opposition and saying, oh yeah, this hero counters this, so we're going to play this. I think there's a much more intelligent ways to approach that, and we've seen that before out of Ace Kings, and they really need to find that again. They will have the chance to do that on Temple of Anubis, which will be Ambition Desire playing for the series win. So, Anubis, we could absolutely see this dive composition again, and we could absolutely see the double sniper composition again that we saw. Anubis is a surprisingly versatile map. Like, you can actually see a fair few compositions there, and I think that if Desire do stick with their dive composition, it won't be as effective, purely because Temple of Anubis is just so much more enclosed than Junkertown is. Junkertown, particularly on point A where they were really thriving, it's just so vast, and there's so many areas to take skirmishes to and boot people into. Temple of Anubis, being much more claustrophobic, I guess, is not benefiting to that just as much. There's still the high grounds that you can boot people off, which will be very impactful if Volpe does do that on the Wrecking Ball, but it'll be easier for everybody, for Ace Kings, to stay together, and that is, as we've kind of harped on about, what they need to do.
Yeah, it definitely is what they need to do, and Temple of Anubis is going to be something that is very interesting. I'd like to see them go back to the Brawl style, I think, because I think that was their best look for them. And I think they played well against the Wrecking Ball compositions when they were on it on King's Row. I don't see why they won't be able to do it again. And I think it forces them to stick together as well. I think just the basic nature of the composition forces them to stick together like glue. And they're not going to be able to shake apart from each other at all. Even with the disruption attempts from Volpe, they should be able to stay together.
Yeah, the reintroduction of the Lucio into the hero lineup could definitely be a big deal, because it quite literally does force you to stay within that kind of radius of the aura that Lucio does provide. So I think that is actually a really good shout, Harry. That could definitely work. I think on the offense particularly, they need to close the distance between Fawn and mainly that first choke endpoint as quickly as they can. Because if they don't, the defense will almost guaranteed be playing some sort of poke, whether that's like a long-range hit scan or a Junkrat or even a Roadhog, anything of the sorts that will just pick them off. In this case, it's going to be the Echo from LZT. So if they transfer to the point as soon as they can, that is when they will start to benefit. But the defensive dive is going to be coming out. And also, we talked about maybe the Lucio coming out to force people to stick together. In this case, XDC thinks that the Brig is the way to go. It makes a lot of sense too. They'll be sticking like glue to Doggo, and just, if House tries to get on them, there's a whip shot and a shield bash waiting for that Doomfist right there every single time. And Volpe will probably suffer a similar fate if they dare go near the prized possession that is Doggo. So I really like that hero swap. But they need to do more than just a hero swap. They need to actually play to that hero's strengths, which is what they really failed to do on Junkertown. So we'll have to see if they do that here.
Yeah, they need to really get aggressive so they don't let Volpe in for free at all. And that is not how you want to start your defense. LZT gets headshot by Kratarko, and that is going to be a straight engage. Doggo gets taken down immediately, and that almost child that you care for so carefully as this composition that is the honor gets taken down so quickly, and the rest of the team is just dismantled around him. That is just, you hate to see it.
House looked at the kind of mace of XCC and saw it as a bit of a wet noodle, just walked right past it, didn't think anything of it, and now the value's going down again. It'll be okay because they will get like the 3-second respawn or whatever, and point B isn't even open for capture. So,
yeah, this is kind of bullying at this point, isn't it? House just get taken down by LZT, and a DMAC on Deadly Color means that there is no snowball potential whatsoever coming out here.
Yeah, it's going aggressive for the sake of being aggressive, and I think that was actually a really overly confident, cocky play from Ambition's side. That was absolutely unnecessary. They could have held back, had a really nice snowball opportunity when they came back to it with the late respawn of Doggo, but instead they just kind of staggered themselves out and wasted a whole bunch of time and gave the opposition a whole lot of ultimate charge as well.
Most definitely. House actually just tried to get into the backline and was immediately taken down because he couldn't get onto Doggo. Now it's going to be a little bit of an engage trying to go in. You see the Lucio getting very aggressive right there. LZT going forward and taking down Disco J right there. Volpe still hanging around on this Wrecking Ball, but is eventually going to get out. And that's just going to be the end of the fight.
Secret doing the job that the Brigida tried to do on point A, flashbanging the Doomfist, taking them out straight away, no hesitation, and they need to keep on doing that. So you will see the Cassidy hopefully sticking somewhere near their Ana, or just gatekeeping one of the chokes where they think the wrecking ball might be coming through. And another great pick. This is them using first picks to their advantage.
Yeah, and this is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see them actually pull out this Reinhardt, pull out this Lucio, because now we actually see them playing a little bit more together. House does manage to find Secret, and a minefield goes on to point, but they are still missing their Hanzo. We see LZT using the duplicate over onto the Diva right now, and it is a bubble, but the self-destruct managed to find two. That is not something that can happen right there. Both supports going down, the Graviton Surge is used, but they're not going to really be able to get anything. LZT uses the remake right there and finds Ren. Self-destruct going up in the air right now, clears a lot of space and finds Cray Tarko. Secret with the high noon managed to find Deadly Colors remake, and that is just going to be the recontest now coming in from the side of Ace King. They should do enough here to stop any progress on this point, but it looked really hairy for them.
Yeah, it did. There's a minefield way back at the start of that fight where Doggo and XTC were isolated and actually died to the self-destruct, but it just wasn't enough. The quick respawns of 2CP was proved too much of an obstacle for Desire to overcome, but they still have a few shots this offense. This next one might be a bit of a dud because they are playing into the sound barrier and they don't really have many ultimates of their own. So it might just take a few dry fights from the offense, just build up their ultimates and then try and make something happen. But they do still have to stay on their toes because House is around the outside.
Yeah, House is around on the outside, and he's done that 3 times in a row. But look at this, Disco is not with his team right now. He actually had to cross open ground to try and get back to his team. And Deadly Color is trying his best to try and counter the Echo right now. Dragon Strike now coming out from Cray Tarko, splits off the rest of the team, and it's going to be a sound barrier used to try and get the re-engage. They do take out Volpe, and the Doomfist Meteor Strike doesn't really get all that much. It's going to be a charge straight onto House, and he's going to go very, very low, but great healing from Ren keeps him alive for quite a long time. LZT did find Disco, though, so this fight should just be over. Even with any kills coming from the side of Ambition Desire right now, the respawn advantage should be too great.
You said it during that fight at the very start of it. House has done that 3 times in a row now, and 3 times it has been unsuccessful. This is the time when maybe they have to change something up, come from a different angle, and it looks like that's what they're doing. This time choosing to stick with the team going all the way through caves. And that is still good. They will still have a direct line of sight to punch or Seismic Slam onto the point.
Yeah, they used the self-destruct actually as an engage tool, trying to get aggressive as they try and get through. House gets taken down very quickly again, and it's going to be a failed pin attempt, but a great shatter coming in onto the nano-boosted Volpe. It's going to be a self-destruct and a sound barrier used to try and mitigate any damage going onto Volpe, but it's going to be a huge 18A coming out now from the side of Doggo, and it's going to be a copy onto the Reinhardt right there. She gets pinned, but it doesn't really matter. LDT goes down, and it's going to be a huge shatter connecting onto both tanks right there. Volpe has stayed alive through so much. Ren and Disco have kept their main tank alive through everything. Great save dart onto Sir Laptop right there, puts an end to the Diva's life, and that should be a little bit of point progress going over, maybe even the full cap.
Yeah, there are a few speedy characters coming out for the recontest though, Harry. LZT is forced off immediately, but the Beanlord isn't suffering the same fate at all. They will be able to stagger this objective out for even longer, and everybody from the defense is going to be back.
Yeah, they are, and XTC actually managed to get the sound barrier, and now it's going to be 4 characters back, including Doggo, who is building up towards that nano boost. If they can stay alive, they will be able to get it, and it's going to be a counter pin onto Secret right there. Nano boost, not nano boost, sorry, sound barrier coming out now, and nano boost as well, and a Doggo builds up the nano boost, uses it immediately onto Sir Laptop on that monkey right there. As you see Secret get taken down by Cray Tarko, it's going to be a pin across the point, but Cray Tarko takes out XTC as well. This is an all-out brawl right now.
It's going, but I think it is slowly going in the favor of Ambition Desire. 0.14 percentage in it. Volpe with that shatter just hoping to clean everything up. And I don't think this defensive stall is going to last much longer. And I think the offense there, they played that stagger as best as they could. Because 2CP, that stall is always going to be there. It is an inevitable factor of the map and of the game mode in general. But what they did really well is they had their 2 DPS. There was the Hanzo and the Cassidy, I want to say. And they were in 2 different spots completely off the objective, just looking down. And because everybody from the defense was so frantic just trying to keep that contest on the point, it means that the two DPS could just sit back and take pot shots all day. And that is exactly what they did, and nobody was able to challenge them. And that was a huge reason that they didn't die. And then from there, the defense couldn't turn the fight around. So really great positioning for the DPS on the offense there to just secure that point where, because of 2CP, it could have easily gone the other way.
It definitely could have. As we see, maybe a new hero selection from House. No, he's going to go back over to that Doomfist. Disco's going to stay on that Lucio. And it looks like we're going to see the dive composition coming out from the side of Ace Kings again. Do you think they've shown enough coordination to pull out this dive composition? Because it really didn't seem like it on their defense. And so far, they've only really looked like they have that team coordination on the rush comps.
Yeah, this is actually a really big flaw. Thank you for pointing that out, Harry. They could struggle. I guess it just depends on how their composition kind of mashes into the other one. If LZT continues to go, or not continues to go, but if they go uncontested on the Echo and Kraytako doesn't hit another like nutty shot like they did at the start of the last round and takes them out of the sky, then the dive composition could absolutely work. But I think the damage from the Hanzo could be a really big hindrance because they have no shield to absorb it. So Laptop will have to do a lot of work with the defense metrics.
Yeah, so Laptop is going to have to do a lot. And Doggo is going to have to do a lot as well because they need to build up this nano boost as fast as they can. As we see Beanlord trying to get onto high ground, immediately punch. But a great anti-nade manages to keep the tanks alive for a little bit. So Laptop manages to take out House, but trades the mech for it. And Secret gets headshot by Kraytako. What a shot from Kraytako. And Kraytako also takes out Beanlord as well. This Hanzo on the side of Ambition Desire has been absolutely nuts. They take out XDC as well. They have been insane in this round so far. This defense has been all Kraytako and Ambition Desire as Ren takes out Sir Laptop and Deadly Color takes out the Beanlord.
I think that even though they lost that fight, Ace Kings kind of proved that they do have the synergy to make this dive composition work. I saw a really nice play from Sir Laptop there on the D.Va. They went in after their fellow Winston just a little bit later than normal to try and catch House in the counter dive. And it actually worked. House was the casualty there, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, most definitely. They actually try and jump onto the Lucio there, and we see the nano boost now. They're still trying to kill the Lucio, and they managed to get it. Kraytako did find LZT. The Hanzo, again, trying to clutch up for the side of Ambition Desire right now, and he manages to stay alive while the Tracer is chasing him. So Laptop, in the meantime, has found Ren in the back line, which means there's no nano boost available. Self-destruct now coming up from the side of the Ambition Desire, and Kraytako is still alive. Kraytako managed to kill Secret and managed to find Sir Laptop as well. Sir Laptop does get resurrected, only for Disco J to come in with a boop and finish it off. Chimera was invested in, so was Minefield. This fight has gone on for way too long. LZT managed to find Disco J, and it's going to be a duplicate onto the D.Va. Secret with the pulse bomb managed to take out House, and it's going to be pushing on to the first point right now. Surely at some point they will cap this point, but it doesn't look like this time as now as Volpe gets shot with a nano boost right now and is able to stall out the point for a lot longer. Self-destruct coming out from the duplicated D.Va right there as we see Beanlord having to use the Primal Rage right there to find Volpe and Deadly Color. In the meantime, Kraytako did manage to find XTC and managed to find Secret as well. But Kraytako goes down to the Primal Rage, and in the end, it is going to be point one going over to the side of Ace Kings. Although House does find Doggo with the Meteor Strike, and Volpe is back on the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, this fight is just going on for so long, but I don't think there's any meaningful stall left in the defense here. Volpe is being shredded down, and it could have been... Oh no, they actually are fully recontesting it. They invest in the Dragon. This could actually be really big.
Yeah, you're right. They managed to get the demon up to Sir Laptop. They actually could clutch this up, especially if Kraytako is left uncontested. They actually try and get onto it, but Kraytako managed to take out Secret before he gets taken down himself. They get an anti-nade onto LZT, and LZT gets taken down by Ren. Ren does get taken down, but it's another nano boost that's been built up by Doggo. That's the second one of this fight because it's been needed. This is what they need from the support player right now. So Laptop managed to stay alive for so long to get back into the D.Va mech. Volpe using the Minefield on point right now. And Seek and House on that Cassidy is still there. Disco J managed to find Beanlord, but it is still going to be the honor with the Tracer and the Echo coming back. They take out Disco J. Crazy Taco is back on the point. Somehow this stall has gone on for so long. They invest the self-destruct as well. That's a little bit ballsy. They managed to fight XTC, but Deadly Color goes down before they can get back into the mech. Stall has finally ended, and I can breathe.
That has to be. Yeah, there's no way they're coming back from that beautiful stagger from the defense. They just forced so many ultimates out of the offense before they could try and snowball point B, but I don't think it actually worked out as well as it might have, because it went on almost too long, actually, Harry. I think the defense would have rather that end a bit earlier after all the offense used their ultimates, but it went on so long that they were able to build them back again, and this nano boosted Winston is going to be coming in hot.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't have the nano boost just yet. They use the primal raid, and House uses the high noon, on the Cassidy to find the Lucio of XDC. Crazy Taco again managed to find LZT, which is such a crucial kill because they lose so much damage and burst damage with that focusing beam, and that is going to be the fight ending so quickly.
Yeah, the defense did manage to hold on there, but I think this next fight, the Nano Winston is on the cards, and the duplicate online for the Echo. This could go quite well for the offense, and I think if there's any fight to take it, it would be now. The only issue might be the sound barrier from Disco. How are they going to counter it? They don't really have anything to cancel it or completely overwhelm it, so it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, it is going to be very tough. They use the sound barrier from Disco to try and save Ren, but Ren gets taken out before they can use the nano boost, and with a duplicate bomb on the point, they're going to be able to clear it off. Now it's going to be a little bit of stall from Volpe. They're trying to do this again. They cannot be allowed to stall at this point as long as they did for point 1. Disco J on the high rise right there, trying to get a lot of it done. Volpe is about half health, but close to a minefield. Does he get taken down before he can get it? No, House comes back in though with a punch, and Volpe gets taken down. House with a nano boost now from Ren, trying to take out Beanlord, and Cray Doggo found XDC. Cray Doggo found Doggo as well. Cray Doggo and his Hanzo has been absolutely devastating.
Found both the supports with headshots. Oh no, there's a Diva stagger as well, so Laptop is admitting their fate. There's, finally gets taken out. That is such a brutal stagger onto the baby Diva. At the end of the day, though, they will be coming back with their self-destruct, which could actually be useful. I think a self-destruct engage isn't a bad shout for the offense here. It just lets their Winston get closer to the supports of Ambition Desire without actually having to use their movement abilities, so then they can use those to get on the supports and actually execute a really fluent dive. So I think a self-destruct engage could absolutely be on the cards here, and it could also buy Secret on the Cassidy a bit more position to just get off that high noon, but no, they're gonna die.
Yeah, they try and get into position, but it goes down to House immediately. They tried to dive the Diva. That was a weird dive target right there from the Beanlord. They seem very uncomfortable right now. Doggo does find Haas in the backline, which is a really key kill because they're able to keep the honor alive for a while. Now it's going to be really careful for Disco. Disco actually goes down to Doggo as well. Doggo's found 2, but Beanlord gets taken down with a self-destruct. The next CT taken down by the minefield. He was on point. He was so far away from the rest of his team. They need to regroup and they need to be together.
This is the final opportunity for Ace Kings to keep themselves in their series. If they lose this fight, they're out. There is no coming back from it. The Primal Rage is going to be used just to tuck the point, and if the Nano Boost gets onto that Winston, it could actually be massive. But they're slept! They aren't even on the point! Will they be able to touch it? They are.
No, we got woken! It got woken up as well, so they actually stay on the point. So Laptop getting to get the eat on the Dragon Strike right there. That could be a clutch play as Ren goes down with the Nano Boost again. That is the second time in this round that Ren has gone down with that Nano Boost as we see the sound barrier being invested. They're trying to get onto House, and they do manage to do it. Now it's a sound barrier coming out from Disco J as they try and stall out this point. Ren coming back with that Nano Boost right now. Gets onto Volpe right there. And now they're going to be going onto point. Deadly Color with the remake managed to find the Beanlord. And in Baby D before me found Secret as well. LCT with the duplicate onto the Wrecking Ball right now, trying to find Ren, but can't really get there. Now it's going to be a self-destruct coming out from the side of the Laptop, but House found it before they can get back into mech. And Disco J found Doggo in the back line. It's just LCT on the point, and it's going to be XTT trying to stall it out for as long as he can, but a great sleep dive from Ren comes in. Volpe finds him in the minefield. Secret finds Disco J, but it's too little too late, as it is going to be Ambition Desire taking the series from Ace Kings.
What a series. That was filthy. At the start of that fight, Ace Kings put everything into it. They couldn't have done much more, but at the end of the day, it was the DPS of Desire just proving too much of a hassle. Cray Taco and House going ham all series long, but particularly on that last fight as well. They got a whole lot done and are a big reason that they turned that losing fight into a winning one. Great play all the way around from Ambition Desire. That might be one of the best series I've ever casted. That was absolutely awesome.
It was a great series, especially Kings Row. I think Kings Row might be one of my favorite maps that I've ever casted. That was just so back and forth. Like, it looked like that Ambition Desire for the start of that map were going to just take it away, and they might just dominate the series from there, but Ace Kings fought back. And I think that is what you need to look at if you are Ace Kings, that you were able to fight back and you were able to hang in for the most part with this team. So, you know, you go away with a defeat, but you come out with some knowledge as well about your own team and about the enemy team should you face them again at a later date as well. Any particular MVP that you think of, Nick, for either team?
Oh, it is so tough. Everybody played so well. I think it'd be rude to kind of ignore House, particularly in those last two maps on the Doomfist. They really turned around what could have been a really big snowball from Ace Kings and turned it into one of their own into the next two maps. The Doomfist was just uncontested all throughout map 2 and map 3 and 4, excuse me. So they played really well. But also Ren. I found that in contrast to Doggo, she didn't die at the start nearly as much. So props has to go for that as well. But I think the team played so well together. And I think a big word there is team. It wasn't a bunch of players and Volpe, who is just kind of thrown in there, I'm assuming a bit last minute. They actually looked like a really cohesive team, and it turned out really well for them.
It did turn out really well, as reflected by the scoreboard that we see up above. 3-1 for Ambition Desire. It really was what you want to see from Desire at this stage in the season. At this stage in the stage, sorry, I should say. It is what you want to see from them. You want to see the cohesive synergy coming out, even with a main tank who's only playing with you for the first time ever. I think it's just a very, very smart decision to play those compositions, and I think they played extremely well around them.
I fully agree with you there, Harry. That was just... I'm still a bit hung up on how that was all the way around. And we aren't even done for the night, Harry. We have game 2 coming up. It will be LAG Chimera coming up against OMG Monarchs. I'm really excited for this game, and we will have to get to that on the other side of this break.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AAOL Season 13. That last game was an absolute banger, Nikki. I'm still joined with you, by the way. You're still here. It's good to see you here again. Yeah, let's go. Really was an absolute banger. In case you missed it, Ace Kings took on Ambition Desire, but fell short in a 3-1 loss to them. And now moving on to our next game, we've got Chimera versus Monarchs. And I have a little bit of history with Chimera because they were originally branded as Good Eggs. And I casted this team a couple of times. And I've casted a couple of their players. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them play.
Yeah, it should be. There's a few players on here that I know personally and that I know are absolutely fantastic. And we'll start with them right off the bat. We have Reaps and Left of Zen on the tanks. Reinhardt Zarya, that's a good indication of what they're going to play. Lots of brawl. Makes a lot of sense. We saw it pretty successful in the previous series, so I imagine it will be no different here. The DPS is where a lot of my focus is. We have Cruddlester on the hit scan. I've known them. They were on my very first team. Incredible hit scan player. Their raw aim is just kind of absurd.
Yeah.
And then the man, the myth, the legend themselves, Gat, who is subbing in on the flex. I expect hard throws and nothing less. Actually, Gat, no, don't take me off the casting roster, please. I love you.
Nothing but Gat slander here today, unfortunately.
Yeah, so if you're a Gat fan, you might want to dip out of here while you can. And then we have Ryan and Mo on the supports. Pretty stock standard stuff. Arna Lucio does really well to kind of accommodate the Ryan Zarya.
Yeah, it definitely does. I wonder if we'll see Cruddlester actually move over towards that McCree just to complement the tank line and the support line just a little bit more with that brawl rush style composition as we move over to their opponents, OMG Monarchs. And I mean, we know a few of these players as well. So we have Dixon M8 on the main tank with Reinhardt being his preferred character. And then the rest, it's kind of a Torbjorn party over here. We see Amphibian on the off tank, Torbjorn. Tracy Please on the projectile, DPS, Torbjorn. Chunky Monkey on the hit scan, Torbjorn. Rose on the main support, also Torbjorn. And Tavro on aim support. I mean, I don't even have to say it anymore. It's getting repetitive.
It do be a Torbjorn.
It do be a Torbjorn, indeed. Just a couple of fun facts about them. This team was made not that long ago. It was made only a couple of months ago. And in the first season of AOE, the Monarch Butterfly was orange, so Orange Esports. So yeah. And not so fun fact, Rose plays with 200 ping as well.
Yeah, they're over, I'm pretty sure, in North America. I feel bad because I've played with her and Dixon before on several occasions. They are so much fun. Rose, actually a really, really solid main support player, so definitely do keep an eye out on her despite the ping. And all of my eyes are going to be lovingly on Dixon, the main tank for Monarchs.
Yes.
An absolute icon in the scene, and I'm really excited to get them play because I've never actually gotten to cast one of their official matches before, besides a few streamer matches and things. So Dixon and Rose, they have really good synergy despite the ping difference, and I'm expecting that to kind of come out throughout the series.
Yeah, most definitely. And you are 100% correct. Dixon is an absolute icon. This is going to be a Dixon simp party over here. This is just going to be us kind of fawning over him as he makes insane plays on the main tank and nothing else. There will be no slander of Dixon here, only of Gat. Going into this, we're going to see the same stock standard map pool that we saw and that we spoke about earlier. We're going to be starting out on Lijiang Tower. We are then going to be going over to Kings Row or Eichenwald, Kings Row Winter, obviously. And then we move over to our escort, being Rialto and Junkertown. Moving over to our next map, we have Hanamura, Winterform, of course, and Temple of Anubis. There we go. And then our tiebreaker being Oasis on that final control map. If we need to go to our fifth map, are you expecting to see 5 maps here? I think these teams look pretty evenly matched, just looking at them on paper.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I have all night. I have no plans. So map 5 all the way. Let's go for it. Map 6. Let's get a draw in there as well.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Woo! That's the kind of levels we're going for. So absolutely not complaining as well. Also, I kind of glossed over it when we went over the Monarchs roster, but Tracy, I'm pretty sure I know them, and I know them for their Tracer personally. Which doesn't really fit into the kind of Reinhardt situation that we kind of know Dixon for. But if they do whip out the Tracer, that'd be very, very cool. Because we didn't get to see a whole lot of it in our previous series. And she is so much fun to watch and can get a whole lot done. Just quite frankly. So, should be good.
Yeah, it definitely should be we should see a lot of clutch players coming out here. I personally know Tracy as he is a very intelligent player and a coach as well on a lot of teams. He's been very prevalent within Koala Esports itself as both a coach and a player. So I think it is going to be interesting to see him play. Now I get to judge his gameplay. As we move on to our first stage of Lijiang, it is going to be a garden, which we didn't see in our last Lijiang match.
Yeah, it was over just too quickly. We didn't even get to come here at all. More Lucio boops on the cards for sure. But I think that this composition that we're seeing teased by Monarchs right here with the Sombra Reaper dive is what we saw in Ascent not a few weeks ago. So it makes a lot of sense that they are playing it particularly here. So watch out for Tracy. They are going to be going for hacks primarily onto Reaps, I imagine. And also, if they can shut down the Cassidy or even the Lucio and just remove that speed boost, that will make the dives so much easier for them. Gat is going for the Sim Telly. They kind of memed it for a bit, almost messed it up, but they do get onto point safely.
Yeah, they do get onto point safely, and now it's just going to be up to Monarchs and how they want to engage this. They will be able to build up their coalescence very quickly. Chunky Monkey needs to be very careful. In fact, he gets stunned and taken out almost immediately, and without the Reaper damage, this fight is just almost straight away lost. Dixon gets taken out by Krut, and that is going to be the fight just immediately won for the side of Chimera.
Yeah, Krut playing the Cassidy is kind of the perfect storm to counter the composition of Monarchs. It not only does it shut down the Sombra, it also shuts down the Reaper. Puts a lot of pressure on Dixon. They have to be careful about where they position before they drop that shield. So a great pick on the Cassidy all the way around. Also provides a little bit of support for the Baptiste. So we will continue to see Krut be a highlight in these fights.
Yeah, we see the Coalescence actually coming out very early, and the Symbol as well. Great Shatter, though, managed to catch on to 3. That was a great use of the Earth Shatter there, coming up from Reeves as we see Krut take out Rose, and with a Fire Strike through the Amplification Matrix right there, taking out Dixon and Tavro. Krut cleaning up the rest of the fight, and that is just going to be split in half for the Reinhardt and the McCree in terms of eliminations.
Yeah, but this is the first good shot for Monarchs in this map so far. They will have the EMP online. And if they go speedily enough, they might actually catch Ryan before they get that sound barrier. But otherwise, they will just have to catch him with a manual hack or that ultimate ability. They do catch him, that's all 6.
Yeah, lovely. That is a great EMP, but they need to get into it. They do manage to catch onto Reeves. And if they can get onto point, it's going to be so much easier for the Betrayed to get taken out by Gat. And it's going to be a sound barrier invested now. They didn't really get enough in this fight. And now it's looking really, really bad for them. Now we see it going into the back line, but left is in with the self-destruct. Managed to get 2 and a remake of the Chunky Monkey. Now it's going to be Dixon. You're using the Primal Rage, but he has to just get out straight away. That is a disaster of a fight for Monarchs there, as we see Chimera go up to 76%.
Yeah, it started off really promising with picks onto Reaps, but they spent so much of their time when everybody was deactivated by that EMP killing the Brine that they didn't actually have any time to benefit from it and getting to point. And with Rose down before they even get to touch that sound barrier, that's a really brutal first pick. And the boot.
Oh, great boot from Ryan right there. Tavro goes down. It's going to be a Death Blossom coming out, but it gets just eaten up right there by the Demon Defense Matrix. Riggs using the Earth Shatter takes out Tracy. Chunky Monkey goes down as well, and Krut with the High Noon takes out Rose, who's trying to come back. Amphibian goes down to Krut, and that is the first point, dominantly going over to Chimera.
Yeah, even though that round was a little bit of a stomp, I don't want to rule Monarchs out of this series whatsoever just yet. I think a big reason that they were unsuccessful there is just the compositions, and they chose not to make a whole lot of swaps, if any. I'm not too sure, but they kind of lost the composition of rock paper scissors right off the bat and kept on trying to beat paper with rock, which we all know just doesn't work. So this is a good chance on Control Center to just reset, maybe go back to a composition that they're a bit more comfortable on, and hopefully reset that composition difference that we kind of saw. It will be Krut staying on the Cassidy, and Tracy will be going over to the Junkrat. So there'll be a whole lot more damage for Monarch, and that will be up to Ryan and their fellow support to deal with.
Yeah, it definitely will. As we see them trying to push in, they need to play this a little bit slower. They are playing the spam composition right now, and they do have a lot of good positioning. And that's Tracy, please! Manages to find both DPS, both supports, sorry, quite quickly. Amphibian takes out Reeves, and that is just going to be an instant fight win coming up for the side of Monarch, showing their first bit of life in this map.
Yeah, and if you get all that damage done with the Junkrat, it's pretty hard, with both supports especially, it's pretty hard to not turn that fight into a dub. And they did exactly that. And this is very reminiscent of what we saw in our first series of the night, on this exact stage as well, with the defenses being able to hold really far forward with the Junkrat and the Symmetra. It's the same story, it's going to be so hard for them to deal with, but the choke is being given up surprisingly easily for the defense. I think they made a bit more of an effort to hold on to it.
Yeah, they lost their sim really early. That is a great amplification matrix fire strike. Reeves falls very, very low. And in fact, there's no shield now. Now they're trying to TP into the back line, but they can't really do a lot without their Reinhardt creating that space for them. Krut getting burned down right now by Dixon as he tries to just walk onto them. And they're on the wrong side. It's going to be an Earth Shatter going onto Gat right there. Solo Shatter from Dixon. Honestly, kind of deserved for Gat right there. But Krut is still alive in the back line. And it's a Shatter blocked by Dixon. The main tank for the side of Monarch has been absolutely insane in this round right now, playing this perfectly. However, he eventually falls to a fire strike through the amplification matrix. Krut is still alive in the back line. They're able to clean up the rest of this fight.
I am so unsure how they managed to turn that around. It looks so promising for the side of Monarchs, but eventually they just lost it. And I'm really struggling to think. I have this sound in my ear. It's about to cap and it isn't quite there. And I'm actually going to go insane listening to this. But besides from that, it will be the point flipping at about 61, 62%. And it will be the defense having to try and pull up a little bit of a hold. They don't have a whole lot of significant, I guess, offensive ultimates to kind of hold that choke with. Like, the sound barrier is online, and I imagine that since Amphibian recently swapped over to the SIG, or recently used that ult, I should say, they will use this sound barrier either in response to the Riptire from Tracy, or just to allow Reaps to go really aggressive. That is the kind of the two options that Ryan has here.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Those are the two options. But I think it will be used just to counter the Riptires. We see a TP actually just to go straight over towards the point. They're not going to be able to get there in time. It's going to be the Riptires straight away. They don't even get to use the sound barrier. Ryan tried to go into the back line. There's going to be another pause coming out. This time, Amphibian calling a Rose going down to left as Zen. This is not what you wanted to see here.
No, but that was such a cool play from Orange Monarchs there. The choke was proving to be a little bit difficult, and they just walked right past it, and they got to the point, and then they set up their amplification matrix looking right down the barrel of their opposition. So Symmetra E ability and an amplification matrix is what won them with that fight. That is so nice all the way around. I guess the Riptide was used from Tracy as well.
Yeah, it definitely was. And they do manage to get point control back as well. That's a big thing. So this whole fight is going to be them just gaining percentage as well. As we see the barrier for Reeves actually going down, as we see the self-destruct coming out as well. Doesn't really find anything, but Reeves goes down to the Symmetra turret. Chunky Monkey with the Symmetra turret placed in such a well-made position right there. He managed to find 3 in that fight just with using the turrets and his beams. And they're at 80%. This is going to be the last fight.
Yeah, and the symbol is just another barrier, quite a literal barrier that Chimera will have to deal with. We're trying to get to the point at all. The question is, will they even be able to contest at this rate? And with Ryan, probably the most likely candidate to touch that objective being taken out, I don't know who will. It looks like Gat is going around the outside, but the Sim turret's going to be really difficult to deal with. and they do get a touch.
Yeah, it's both Lefters and Gat. Gat just gets taken out by a Riptire. Tracy had enough of the Doomfist and just takes him out. They try and get onto the point, and it's going to be a Graviton Flock. It was whiffed in the end, but it doesn't really matter. They're at 99%. Overtime Wick burns down. Team kill goes. That is the gong that I like to hear, and that is going to be the end of Control Center.
Yeah, Monarchs really finding their footing in this series there, and I think that Reinhardt composition really suits them, and they should continue to play it. Dixon, I most know them for their Reinhardt. I think a lot of us do, and that this kind of composition is really working out for them, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it is the saying. I swear I know basic English sometimes. That's all good. Going into this next fight though, I'm really curious to look at the difference in the off tanks. Left of Zen is going to be playing the Zarya and Amphibian on the D.Va. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the night, how maybe the D.Va gives a little bit more support, and that is what Left of Zen thinks as well, as they do eventually ditch the Zarya. It will be both teams teleporting to the point. It will be the Cassidy from Krat, as always, versus the Doomfist, but no. It looks like Chimera isn't going to teleport up to that top window. They're going to use this teleport a little bit later into the fight when they are maybe in a bit more of an advantageous position.
Yeah, they might try and TP into the backline here to just avoid the sim turrets, maybe. As we see a punch coming in now from Tracy, trying to get as much value. There's the TP into the backline right there, and they get kind of surrounded. That is a great punch, though, coming out from Tracy, and a great counter pin to stop all of that damage. But the point flips over. They have control now. They can stay on the point for as long as they need to, and that is almost a boop off the edge. It is, in fact, a boop off the edge. Rose burning the big out. Crossler goes down to Chunky Monkey, but Reeves found Tracy, please. Now it's Gats on the Symmetra, all charged up versus Chunky Monkey. It's going to be Tovro actually using the application matrix right now, trying to stay on the point, finds Left of Zen, but Gat is farming on this Symmetra right now.
Yeah, doing so much work, just getting a whole lot of damage. The Sim Shield on the point as well is a big reason that they took that point at the end of the day. And not too much progress gained for Monarchs. They got a bit, but the more significant capture point progress will go the way of Chimera, and if they continue to hold at this choke, which they don't, they have to go back because the same teleport right off the bat is back for this next fight.
Yeah, and there's a massive shadow right there, just ending this fight almost as quickly as it began right there. I mean, it really ended as soon as Krut got the pick onto Tavro right there, but it just doesn't matter, and that's going to be just a little bit of a stagger onto Amphibian as he gets taken out before he can jump off the map.
Yeah, just that little bit of old charge, nothing wrong with that. And this defense is holding really, really strong, but this next fight, Harry, is going to be the one that I think could really determine the rest of this map. That's just because there's so many ultimates online for both sides, and it will be down to not only who wins, but who comes out with more ultimates to use in the next fight, so then they can start to cycle and manage their ultimate economy. So watch out, there's going to be a lot of Q buttons pressed.
Yeah, Shadow gets blocked right there, and Krut, again, found Chunky Monkey. Now it's the Sim Wall coming out, and it's going to be a High Noon now coming from the side right there. Great boop, though, into a Fire Strike. That is the team coordination you want to see coming up from the tanks right there. As Dixon is just swinging away with his hammer right there. He has just found 3 in the back, and it's going to be the sound barrier used, but this fight should be over. Cat is the only one left on the point right now, and as he gets taken down, it's only going to be Ryan left on the point, and eventually he will get taken down. Maybe. There we go. He does. I don't guess it.
That was a huge fight from Dixon, and you pointed out that is such a huge shutdown onto the high name from Krut on the Cassidy there. It was right near the boopers fight, and that could have been a really nice high name. They were off the back of a pick already, so they were really feeling themselves go for that ultimate, but maybe a little bit ahead of themselves. And the preemptive teleport is set up, which will allow everybody from Monarchs to teleport right back.
Yeah, Tavro, the Maywall couldn't really stop a huge shot coming from Dixon. They need to break the lamp though so they can get some value from it. They do manage to do it. Amphibian with the self-destruct in the backline. Chunky Monkey following up with the damage as well. The Symmetra beam doing so much work. Gat goes, managed to get Dixon, but it doesn't really matter in the end. That is a huge playmaking move by Dixon. 2 members down, and he pulls it out of his hat.
Absolutely, Dixon. What a machine. Mo tried their best on the Baptiste with that Immortality Field. It was actually a really nice ability use, but it just wasn't enough. Everybody was on the ground for just a smidgen too long. And where is this telly going? Gat drops, and maybe they can't go with their original plan, but this teleport from Gat will come out at some point during this fight.
Yeah, it definitely will, and it goes into the back of the point, and they're just immediately pinning onto it. Right there, they use the amplification matrix trying to get a lot of damage onto it as they can. Pin across the map from Reeves right there. Manages to get into the backline. He finds 2. Amphibian, and he found Chunky Monkey. Gav found Dixon, and this is going to be flipping over at 99. This is going to be a 99-99 round, I think.
That was such a nice teleporter from Gat into the backline. It created a crossfire that was just too much for Monarchs to deal with because half the roster went through, but a lot of them went back. And crucially, Krut did not go through that teleporter, which means that they were shooting behind Dixon's shield and just doing so much damage while the Ryan was trying to face the other Ryan on the other side of the point. Great teleport.
Yeah, great teleport. And they used the sound barrier as well to try and counteract the May wall. Shadow gets blocked by Dixon. He's been an absolute monster on this main tank right now. But it's going to be a high noon coming up from Krut on the Cassidy. And it's just like that. The rest of the team is going to fall. It's going to be a blizzard coming up from Tracy, please. But I don't think it's going to be enough. They do take out Briggs, but Tracy goes down to Gat. And it's going to be a sound barrier on top of that, stamping out the victory for the side of Chimera. Great play coming out from both teams, though.
What a hard-fought map, and if that is any indication of how the rest of this series is going to go, I am not complaining at all. It will be Chunky Monkey with the play of the game here on Control Center. Look how charged up they are on that Symmetra. The turret's doing a lot of the dirty work for him, but the beam is still just very, very filthy. That's essentially 4 kills there for the Symmetra. And Lijiang is probably our most Symmetra prevalent map that we have going around in this kind of map pool, so I don't think we'll see too much more of it as we go forward. But if we do, definitely do continue to keep an eye on Chunky Monkey because they were really, really good.
Yeah, they definitely were very, very good on that Symmetra. And I'd love to see how he goes on the hit scan against Krut, because we saw Krut picking up that Cassidy and Gat taking the Symmetra, whereas Tracy was more taking over the Doomfist projectile role. So those two different roles may have been the difference in the end. Krut just putting in so much consistent damage. If Tracy's unable to get the insta-kill, Doomfist is kind of useless. And then playing the Mei, if he's unable to get an effective wall to take out a target quickly, it just means that they're going to be unable to secure that kill and secure the fight in the end.
Yeah, I think the DPS will be very significant in the outcome of the rest of this series. And especially as we head over to King's Row, the hit scan will definitely continue to be significant. I'm pretty sure it was last week we saw Krut playing on King's Row on the Widowmaker, and they were fragging out. They were clicking heads, and I expect no different going into this round of King's Row against Monarchs this time. So they will need to put a bit more pressure onto Krut, because I think if they continue to just walk around left-clicking people like they're really, really good at doing, they're going to have a little bit of a problem, Monarchs will. So they'll have to change something up, whether that is killing everybody else quick enough that the Cassidy damage doesn't become an issue, or they need to start to buckle down and take that Cassidy out of the fight as early as possible. I'm kind of leaning towards the latter option there. I think that a really nice speed boost engage onto the Cassidy where they only have the combat roll to escape, that kind of thing, could really do a great job in putting them in better position to take individual fights. But on the defense, not too much out of the norm. The Cassidy is, of course, on the field, and we are seeing the defensive Mei. I'm really curious to see how Dixon plays around this Mei, because they will obviously be anticipating it. Well, oh no, Gat was trying to tease us with the Genji there, but they will be on the Mei. I was like, should he be anticipating it? I don't know, but no, they will be anticipating the Mei walls there, and I'm curious to see how Dixon plays around it. Tavro will have a really important job of charging up those exo boots and jumping over the Mei wall just to chuck the immortality down and give Dixon a little bit more time. As soon as that Ryan is flashbanged on the other side of the Mei wall, they're essentially dead meat.
Yeah, they're actually playing this really, really passively, and this is really good if Dixon and the rest of the team can just get really aggressive. They are forced to use their immortality field really, really early, and they need to play aggressive because they can't let the Zarya get high charge. But as I say that, Dixon goes down. Reeves does go down as a trade, so it is a respawn advantage now for the side of the Orange Monarchs. So it means they're going to be able to come back. They're going to be able to get their main tank, and they should be able to regroup before the Reinhardt for Chimera gets back.
A quick re-engage is absolutely the way to go. I'm still kind of baffled about how much room Chimera just gave up. It's really uncommon to see that on any map, but particularly King's Row when you're playing a Mei. I think that they aren't putting themselves in the best position to get value out of that Mei wall, but that's a really nice amplification matrix to get position on the point.
Yeah, it is. And what do? You don't have the Diva, so you can't eat any of the damage.
Oh,
Dixon with a fire strike through it. That is how you do it. That is an absolutely beautiful fire strike. Great little set play coming out. Crossler, though, with a high noon. Got boosted up with the Mei wall from Tracy Please. That was the unintended consequence from that. It's going to be a self-destruct from Amphibian that finds Krut in the end. And Chunky Monkey is still there, managed to kill 2. And it's going to be the fight. Eventually, you'd say, turning in favor of Orange Monarch. Reeves is back, and he will have both of his supports here, so maybe they can look to turn it.
Yeah, but I think Chunky Monkey with the high noon will really put the nail in the coffin there. Yeah, the Cassidy really cleaning up those final kills. It was kind of a half-hearted recontest. I think they kind of got there and realized, zoink, scoop, this isn't really going to work. And they just kind of had to get out with as much value as they could. And in that case, it was just shaving a little bit more time off the clock. Dixon with that characteristic aggression is going nice and far forward. But it will be the Ryan games about to commence as Reaps approaches that Earth Shatter. Also look out for Left of Zen with that Graviton Surge. Amphibian will have to be on their toes to try and not let that one get through their clutches.
Oh, that is a massive shatter on both sides, but it's a great Mei wall from Gat, actually. That stops a lot of the aggression and damage coming through. Left of Zen did get taken down, and so did Left of Zen. So with both tanks being taken down now, they lose all of that space because Amphibian is still on the Diva, still alive. Tavros was able to keep him healed through everything right there. This is what you want to see coming up from Orange Monarchs after what was a devastating map 1 loss.
Yeah, Tavro also had a really nice immortality field in there during that Graviton Surge that kept everybody alive, so huge props to them. But
yeah,
as they dropped another really nice immortality field to prevent the impact of the Mei wall.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Both amplification matrices have kind of been lined up here, and it's going to be a self-destruct going in the air. Oh no, Amphibian finds 2. The immortality field went down just before the bomb went off, and now both supports are going to look like they're going to get caught. That is a point winning, like that there wins them the second point. That bomb was so perfectly placed to get both of those tanks. They will cruise this through to second point with quite a bit of time left on the bank.
And not only was that Diva Bomb perfectly placed, Harry, but it was also in the Baby Diva form, falling from the sky, firing that Bunny Blaster to take out the Immortality Field, which would have prevented those kills. Oh no, the stagger onto Reeps is brutal as well. Dixon just hasn't let go of W this entire offense long. And the Shatter! Oh my god, he's cleaning up.
This is what you want to see from Dixon. This is exactly what you want to see. He is just fragging out. He's feeling it. And this is, as a main tank player, when you get into that moment, you know you're unstoppable. You know you're the best player on the field at the moment. And Dixon is really trying to prove that right now as we see Tracy and Dixon going up to the spawn room right now. They are trying to get anyone cut off here. And they managed to get both supports cut off from the rest of the team. So now they're going to be able to hang there. That is a very ballsy Mayo coming out from Tracy Please, but Krut with a high noon gets onto both tanks, gets onto both supports. Sorry, right now. Blizzard coming out now from the side of Gat, but it doesn't really catch on to too many people. Ryan does get the boop onto Chunky Monkey, and Dixon goes down to Ryan as well. It just leaves Amphibian left on the point, and he uses the self-destruct. What is this? This is very ballsy. He gets 2. What? He managed to get both supports with the... That is insane. Well, he'll be able to stay alive for a little bit longer, surely. He gets healed up. Gets the next though. Can they recontest onto the point here?
They were thinking about it, but Dixon decides to throw their way a retreating fire strike and then get out of dodge. That would have been ridiculous if Amphibian clutched that up with not only the bomb kill, but the remake to take out both supports. That would have been certainly one that would be circulating around the AOE Discord servers for a while. But they will go into this next fight, opening up with the amplification matrix. Mo on the opposition map is choosing to save theirs for just a little bit longer, not dropping it yet.
Yeah, it didn't use it, and as a result, Left of Zen actually gets demexed right now. Cross has moved over to the Hanzo, and they're going to use their amplification matrix right now, trying to get as much done as you can. But that there is a great shatter coming up from Dixon, capitalizing on the fire strike usage through the amplification matrix actually there, getting that free shatter. But Gat trying to save this, uses the Blizzard. Amplification matrix is not, immortality field, sorry, is forced out, and Left of Zen finds 3 with the self-destruct. takes out Amphibian in Baby Diva form, and Gat and Left to Zen have saved point 3 for Chimera right now.
Yeah, their defense has been really, really solid all the way out. But I think this fight might be the end of the line for Chimera. Primarily because they're playing into this Blizzard from Tracy, and the only other ultimate on the field is going to be that Earth Shatter from Reap. So as long as Dixon blocks that and the Blizzard finds some value, this should be points going their way. And the Shatter gets completely blocked.
He gets flushed out of it. That's a great pin though, getting onto Dixon, and a great Dragon Strike actually finding Amphibian. Tracy Please did go down to Left to Zen, so it's a trade. 2 for 2 right now. Big Ounce though went down, so they're losing a lot of healing right now, but Dixon gets a little bit too aggressive and gets taken down. Left to Zen does get demixed in the meantime though, but Toki Monkey goes down as well. Attempted boop onto Rose, doesn't really find anything, but a charge from Reeves out of spawn. Pins Rose to the side of the cart right now. Ryan gets onto Tavros, and that is going to be another hold on 3rd point here.
They do manage to hold on. I think a large part of that has to go to Krut on the Hanzo, finally swapping off the Cassidy, but still not failing to find that value. There's been so many fights already in this series, and we're only at the very start of it, where Krut has just put in that little bit of work that has turned the fight around into their team's favor. If they continue to do that, they will be certainly an MVP candidate.
Yeah, most definitely. And now it's coming down to the Ryan mind games, as you said earlier. Dixon is just swinging. He is just like, come on, drop your shield for a little bit for me, please. As we see the Blizzard actually getting used, as well as the Dragon Strike, which found Amphibian before he could get back into his mech. Now it's going to be just a full retreat. As I say that, though, Dixon drops the hammer, gets onto 3 people, but is unable to really clean up any of the kills. Great blocks, though. Dixon is putting on a clinic on this Reinhardt. But as I say that, Crosslink gets the head on to Toki Monkey and is in the back line right now, being focused down. Sound barrier coming out from the side of Ryan, and they're trying to push forward with the usage of that. Left to Zen uses the self-destruct and gets onto the immortality field, but Amphibian finds Crossler. Now Tracy Please gets onto Ryan, and it's going to be a Blizzard coming out from Tracy Please on that May. Big Abs gets frozen up, being taken down, and it's just going to be Gat and Reed on point. Left to Zen, trying to stay alive for as long as they can, but they're not going to be really able to stay alive without Big Ounce there to keep them healed. Crossler goes down, Gat goes down, and it is just going to be Ryan and Left to Zen. Rose gets booped off, but it does not matter. They capture 3rd point, but crucially for Chimera, they did get them into overtime.
I was looking at that time bank go down and was thinking, if they can cap with even a second left, that is going to make a huge difference. But unfortunately, the point C defense was just a little bit too strong from Chimera, and they have backed Monarch into a corner where if Chimera cap with over a minute left, their chances of winning this map are just completely eliminated. So they really need to have just as successful of a hold, if not better, to stay of any chance of taking this map. But with Dixon playing like he is at the moment, I wouldn't put it past Monarch at all. He has been on an absolute tear, not only landing shadows of his own, but blocking those that are coming out from Reaps, getting consistent value out of the Fire Strike as well. A few nice pins in there as well, which you don't see every day of the week. But yeah, just really solid play from Dixon. And it's a kind of a shame that it wasn't enough to really get his team to cap with a little bit more time left. The whole roster is playing really, really well though, and I think that only affirms the defense, in that case it was Chimera, of how well they have been playing. I was talking about it at the start of this map. It is Krut teasing the Widow. If they are given the tiniest bit of wiggle room, they will capitalize on it, and they will make a mockery of Monarchs. So they do really need to watch out for that. That will mostly go down to Amphibian. That will be their job, to just sit on Krut, basically, and make sure they don't have any room to work.
Yeah, he's sticking with it as well. They really want to commit to this. This might be interesting if they can get really fast onto the Brawl composition here. They might be able to just out-damage it in the neutral, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. There is a charge coming in, and Rose goes down immediately. Great pin from Reeves right there. And Reeves is going to get traded out, though. So now it's just trying to stay a little bit sustained as Pavro goes down. That is not what you wanted to see if you are the side of Orange Monarchs, because the respawn advantage is firmly in favor of Chimera.
Yeah, but they did get another pick, just buying a little bit more time trying to get everybody to come back. There are a few low players, and as they have to retreat to kind of group up, they're giving up so much space to Chimera. Not only will that be the tanks on the point, but it will be Krut finding some sneaky high ground spot where they'll be able to get a whole lot of value. But no, they're swapping over to Cassidy for this recontest.
Yeah, hey, we're looking around for him, but I couldn't find him. Gat did get the freeze onto Dixon, and with no immortality field, Dixon goes down. Tracy gets taken down by Crot, immediately making his presence known on his Cassidy, but he's getting rushed down now by Amphibian. Kept topped up, though, by the side of Big Ounce and Ryan, and despite him going down, eventually, it doesn't seem like it'll matter too much. Rose did find Gat, though, so they are still trying to contest this. They get back into their mech as well, but Rose goes down to a straight fire strike. Reeves using the Earth Shatter, managed to get onto Tavros, and Dixon goes down to left to Zen. This is just stall now for the side of Orange Monarchs as Tracy throws himself into the point with his ice block.
Really nicely timed charge from Reeves to actually clean up that Mei out of ice block. Yeah, Tracy was in a bad spot there. There was no way they were going to turn the fight, but it was too late to turn back, so they just kind of have to chuck themselves on the point and bag themselves that little bit more of the time bank progress, I guess. And this next fight, it's going to be big. There's so many ultimates on the field. I'm really excited for both Mei ultimates to be out at the same time. If Gat takes a really early fight, they could catch Rose before they get that sound barrier up. So definitely do watch out for that. But my bigger question is going towards Ryan and Big Ounce. If they use both their defensive abilities at the same time, they won't be able to counter the Diva Bomb after it comes out.
Huge shatter coming out there from the side of Dixon, mate. They actually forced Reeves into the hotel, and he uses that to shut 5 players down with the Slayer. That is a great play. Great coordination coming out from the side of Orange Monarchs right there. And that sends Chimera packing. Only 2 ultimates were used. It was the bomb and it was the shatter.
There was a third ultimate used on the other side, and that was Ryan's sound barrier, which got cancelled mid-cast. So that is... I was talking before that fight kind of just sprung upon us, how important that sound barrier was going to be for Ryan, and if they'd use it to counter the Diva Bomb or the Blizzard, and they won't have it for either. So Tracy Please is going to have a completely free Blizzard this fight.
Yeah, but Crut using the High Noon right now gets Mei walled off, but now he's making his way over to the other high ground as we see a flank around from the side. Such a great rotation coming out from the side of Orange Monarchs as they get onto Reeves and take him out straight away. Left to Zen, caught in the back line right now, trying to fight against both supports and Amphibian. But in the meantime, Tracy Please goes down to Crut. Immortality field used to keep both the tanks healthy right now, but it goes down eventually. They lose a lot of space, even with all the tanks gone. Gat tried to use the Blizzard, but it goes down. That's another ultimate that's been cancelled for Gat, and that is not what you want to see for Chimera. That's 2 ultimates that have been cancelled in 2 back-to-back fights.
No, and since they are playing so far forward, they can't even say, oh, at least we got car progress, because not many people were on it throughout the duration of that fight. They only get a little bit of progress, not nearly as much as they should have if they were on it the entire time. And Dixon is back online with that shatter again, and he drops it, oh my god!
Dixon is so good at this game right now. They use the immortality field to try and save themselves from the bomb, but it doesn't matter. Dixon is in the back line right now. High Noon coming out from Chucky Muggy on the Cassidy, managed to get onto Reeves, and he takes out Gat. Just farming away in that off angle right now. Left Zen gets taken down late in the fight, and that is going to be Chimera set packing once again.
Yeah, but I think this time they will come back with a bag full of ultimates. They have so many on the cards. Ryan coming back up towards that sound barrier, and they'll have a bit more stretching room on how they want to use this ultimate, because they don't have to save it for the Blizzard just yet, or anything really. They can use it pretty aggressively if they want to.
Yeah, they can. We see the Earth Shatter coming up from Reeves, but it actually gets Mei walled up. But now it doesn't really matter. The rest of the team has fallen. Dixon again, going for a massive shatter, gets 3 and finds Gat. But the fight was a little bit too far gone there. I do appreciate the attempt, though.
Yeah, but the other side of that coin is, Harry, that maybe you'd want it for next fight when you could actually get some value instead of just cleaning up the kill onto Gat. Which, to be fair, it is a fair bit of a walk all the way back. So if they're really quick, they might actually be able to take a 5v6. But it will be Crut, who is going on a flank already, trying to find an angle, just looking in as everybody's trying to recontest.
Reeves just like pinned in to 6 of them and managed to find Tavro. So now it's a 5v6 on the other side. Earthshatter coming in, managed to find 3, and now it's the amplification matrix being used. They're going to be able to cap point 2 very, very quickly.
Yeah, they get it on the field, and they have really found their momentum here now, has Chimera. And it's looking really good. Going into this next fight, they didn't use too much previously, so they will have that Blizzard, they will have that High Noon, which Crut has found an immense amount of value out of throughout this entire series, so I don't expect that to change at all. but Tracy will have that Blizzard. And since Ryan used the sound barrier, it should be a free Blizzard unless Left of Zen gets the eat off.
Yeah, it should be a free. Great Maywall actually coming out right there. It stops the Immortality Field from actually being able to reach them. Can they get the kill onto Reefs? They can't, but they drop the Blizzard, and with no Immortality Field, Reefs is eventually going to fall. Now they're trying to push onto them. Crut goes down on that Cassidy, and it's going to be left as in trying their hardest to get out, but they're not going to be able to, and they're going to be staggered. Maybe they're going to be pinned the other way. No, they're just going to be taken down. Tracy, please, taking kill credit there. 5 ultimates on the side of Orange Monarchs right now.
Yeah, that fight has put Monarchs in an excellent position to cycle their ultimates and bring the offense to overtime, because they won that fight using 1 ultimate, and as you said, now they have 5 left, and if they use these at the right times and in sparing use, this could absolutely result in a really drawn out defense.
It can. Huge shutdown again. Dixon is absolutely insane on this roll right now. He has played insanely well. As we see the Blizzard now coming out after the self-destruct was used, we see the Lucio Soundberry actually getting used, and a boop into the high noon now of Crut means that they're going to lose both Chunky Monkey and Rose. We see Amphibian using the self-destruct right there, catching onto Ryan, but Gat took him out before he could get back to mech. Now Dixon is just trying to retreat with the help of Tavro, trying to get him out, but they can't keep him alive. This is going to be really difficult as we see an Earth Shatter coming out, actually cancelling out the high noon from the side of Orange Monarchs. They're pushing the payload still. Can anyone touch? Can anyone get onto it? No, they cannot. Minute 33 left on the time bank, but crucially, they got it below a minute, so they will have the chance to go back and get the first point again.
That was a really nice final push coming out from Chimera there. The tanks went really far forward, as they should, and it was the Baptiste and the Cassidy sitting all the way back. The Cassidy just firing pot shots through that amplification matrix, basically forcing anybody who's daring to come out and try and contest it to take a Peacekeeper shot to the face. And not many fancy doing that, and that's why that point was actually given up when so many people were close. They were zoned into that corner for too long because they couldn't risk going out and dying to Crut off the bat. So really great play from Chimera on that last offense. And they will have 30 seconds, which on Kings Row A and with Lucio's on the field, you could treat that as an extra fight. So they have the chance to go and play maybe a little bit slower or go really quick and go for 3 quick fights. So I'm curious as to what they want to do, but they will have to fight through this defense first off. Not too much out of the ordinary. Gat will be on the May, still trying to land those May walls. Dixon and Tavro have done a really good job of keeping themselves alive throughout each time they get May walled. There haven't been any really big walls, granted, from either team that have been completely fight winning like we sometimes expect. So huge props to the Baptiste for landing those immortality fields, and the whole team in general for consistently having that peel to keep everybody alive. And again, it is Chimera giving up so much space. I'm still not a fan of this play.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. I think they need to be aggressive here because they need to try and build as much time and pressure as they can. This May wall, though, isn't exactly great. Gat almost gets taken down. Is forced to use his Ice Block very, very early, but Tavros is forced to use Immortality Field very early. It's a little bit of a trade right now as we see Tavros just trying to keep his main tank alive. Dixon falling very, very low. In fact, gets taken out. And a very late Immortality Field from Big Arms means the rest of his team is going to be able to stay healthy. Left is end chasing down Tracy, please. And that is going to be the fight win going to Chimera. 10 seconds left on the board. Can anyone touch?
Left of Zen pouncing very late at the end of that fight and finding 2 crucial kills. That means there might even be a recontest on the field here. Dixon is going to have to go for some crazy charge. No, it is Amphibian on the point, but this is looking impossible to win for Monarchs.
It really is indeed. Rose gets taken out there with a high noon. Crut taking down 4 people in that fight. That is how you want to see this game go for Crut. If you are Chimera, you know, if you're Monarchs, you really don't want to see Crut doing that type of thing. But they still have a chance to make this a draw, which, remember, you asked for this, Nikki. You asked for the draw.
No,
this is on you. This is on you.
Oh, Nelly. You're absolutely right. But the win is still on the cards. We cannot rule that out. Chimera are playing for the win here. They have 1 minute and 33 seconds to get a singular tick on point A. That isn't out of the realms of possibility whatsoever. Granted, their last point A attack wasn't super speedy. I don't think it would have been within this time range at all. And it looks like already they're going for a similar kind of approach. But I don't know how they are really expecting that to work. So no teams are doing they aren't really playing any wild cards compositionally. They're sticking to their stock standard stuff. And I really like that. It shows that both teams are confident with how they are playing and think that they do have what it takes to win with what they are doing. They don't feel the need to change anything up.
Oh, actually, we do see a change. We do see a change up. We see the Reaper. They want to play more aggressive here, and I think that's the right style of play. I think you just want to try and rush in because even if you lose, you can just reset and go again. I think this is a very smart switch, but we'll see whether or not Chunky Monkey on the Cassidy is able to deal with him successfully as they start trying to push in. They use the May Wall to actually just do a rotation. I don't know if I agree with that because now they lose the offensive prowess that they could use with the May Wall, and that is what it brings. That is a great May Wall. It stops a lot of the aggression from coming in, but Gat crucially actually using his Ice Block to stop the aggression from Orange Monarchs from coming in. And now that they've muscled their way onto point, the Reaper can really shine. Great Maywall actually coming out. Cross falls very, very low. Is forced to use his race to get out. But Dixon, he's so close to this Earth Shadow right now. He actually has it. Huge shadow from Dixon. That is how you do it. This is absolutely insane main tank play coming out from the side of Orange Monarchs. Amplification Matrix has come out, but Dixon can't stay alive. Rose takes out left to Zen. Crazy Bleed takes out Cat. Amphibian takes out the Big Ounce. This fight went on for a while. 38 seconds left on the board.
There is one final shot at this if you are Chimera, and they have the tools to do it. Their amplification metrics is ready off the bat, and from the looks of things, that Sound Barrier and possibly even the Death Blossom will come on late into that overtime situation. That Reaper ultimate from Kruk could be really huge as it's in overtime and everybody has depleted all their resources and they're just sitting on point. So watch out for that as this fight kind of extends.
You most definitely see with High Noon now coming out, and the Immortality Field's forced early. Can they bring the Immortality Field? They can. Shield goes down. Reaper goes down before the Beat can come in to save him. Now it's Dixon trying to stay alive as tall as he can. Blizzard from both sides coming up, but it's going to be a self-destruct coming up from Amphibian. Cleans up Big Ounce. Gat did find Amphibian before he can get back a mech. Grut, though, is here. He has killed 3 in this fight. Dixon, Tracy go down to a Chunky Monkey. He's managed to find Grut, left his end. Shadow now coming out from the side of Reeves. He's on point. They just need the one tick. Reeves is all alone. They managed to clean this up. And that is King's Row going to Chimera.
Victory.
What a roller coaster of a last fight that was, Harry. That was insane. I thought that Monarchs had clutched it up. I thought Krut just hadn't done enough, but it was Reeves coming back and getting the job done instead. What a hero play from them. What a stellar way to end the map if you are Reeves there. Because I think before that play, they would have been leaving that map with a few sour tastes in their mouth. They didn't put up the best of fights against Dixon at times during that entire thing, but that last fight, they really showed Dixon, hey, I am a main tank in this game, and I will absolutely put my team on my back and carry us to victory. That is 2-0 to Chimera off the back of an incredible King's Row. We have had 2 excellent King's Row games tonight, Harry.
It really has been. It's the gift that keeps on giving. King's Row is just that right there, and that makes sense. It is the present map at the moment. The winter map, the Santa's workshop is there, everything like that. We must have been very good boys, Nikki, because that we're just getting all of the presents right now. Going into the next map, we see Rialto coming out. I think this is a smart move from Monarchs because I don't think you want to go to Junkertown and let Krut potentially go on that Widowmaker.
Yeah, I fully agree with you there. That is an excellent point, because Junkertown is just a Widowmaker's heaven. To be fair, Rialto isn't exactly awful for the Widowmaker either, but I think we will see more of the Cassidy, if anything. I think also very crucially, not so much Monarchs playing to their enemies' weaknesses, but more to playing their own strengths. It will allow them to play a lot more of that Reinhardt-Lucio composition, which they seem to be liking quite a bit, and it is where they have found their most success, so it makes an absolute lot of sense. Because on Junkertown, it's just so vast that they don't there's actually so much room to cover that even with a speed boost, they can't close that space 100% of the time. So I absolutely agree with heading off to Rialto for this next map pick. And Monarchs, they need to make it work, because if they lose this map, they are out of the series.
Yeah, they are out of the series. And the score right now doesn't even remotely reflect how close this series is. It is literally coming down to clutch plays from single people. It is absolutely insane that we have gotten to that point on Kings Row where we have one person left on the point. This is incredible from both teams. This really is something special that we're watching tonight, Nikki.
So this map, in the larger scale of things in relation to the rest of their kind of division of AAOL, the winner of this map is putting themselves in the best position possible to achieve second place in their pool. And the others, they could, if they lose, they could drop down to third, even fourth at this rate. So it's a very tightly contested pool, and every win absolutely does matter. So I expect both teams to continue fighting for it. The reverse sweep for Monarchs is on the cards. If Dixon continues his form going into Rialto, a few strokes of luck going the opposite way, we could absolutely have been looking at a 1-1 game here if it wasn't for that play from Reeves.
Oh, no, we definitely could be looking at a 1-1 game, and I think that would be incredible if that is what it came to. But I think this is even more incredible because now we could see a potential reverse sweep, which I think is it is one of the most hyped things in Overwatch, when you see a team come back from what seem like insurmountable odds to overcome everything and really push themselves and push their own mentality as well. So really am so excited to see what both teams bring out on this next map here. I think point one, you may actually end up seeing the Crossler Widowmaker, just because it is quite open for a little bit on point one, and even for a little bit on point two as well. So we might see it. We might end up seeing him pop off on that. I would love to see it. But hopefully it's just going to be another amazing epic map full of turns and twists and everything.
We did throughout the series, from memory, it was mostly from Gat. We did see a little bit of Echo. So we could absolutely see that, particularly on first point as well, bringing out the Echo here. There's a few nice high grounds that they can kind of manipulate to their advantage, give themselves some natural cover before they peek out and take those tri-shot shots. So I wouldn't mind a bit of an Echo pick, because Tracy and Chunky, well, playing really well in the ORA and the DPS, they haven't so much been favoring that long range or even that hit scan character kind of pool in general. They have been very much on the flex side of things, and that is something that Chimera could exploit if they wanted to.
It is definitely something that Chimera could exploit. I think that is a really smart call, actually. I think picking one of those characters to just hard shut down Tracy, who I think has been getting pretty good value on the Mei pick throughout the series. I think trying to shut him down by just going Echo and just kind of avoiding the Mei walls completely and then forcing him off of that pick might be the best way to go. But as we go into Rialto, it looks like he's already planning to go off of the beaten track and move over to Farah is the current pick at the moment, with Rose on the Mercy. And we see the just standard brawl composition coming out from the side of Chimera at the moment.
Yeah, so it is actually the Farah on the other side of things, the aerial character coming out this time for Tracy. With just a Cassidy alone, I don't think even a player of Kraut's caliber will be able to take down a pocketed Farah up in the sky. So maybe we'll see some swaps, or maybe we'll just see left of Zen ditching the Reinhardt a little bit more and going up to the sky to put some pressure onto Tracy. Also, we're finally seeing some Tracer play tonight. It will be Chunky Monkey on the offense, opening up on the Tracer, and I imagine they'll be going on a long flank as soon as they get the chance.
Yeah, and look at this. They automatically just back up. They respect the Farah pick so much that they just have to back up. Look at the high ground gain now. This is very well played from the side of Orange Monarchs, and I think they have I think the Chimera have responded to this perfectly, and just trying to take cover and not take too much damage from the Farah. And as we just see, Chunky Monkey tries to go on the flank and just gets immediately eviscerated.
Yeah, I think they'll have a really rough time on the Tracer, purely because the Cassidy, Bap, and Lucio are playing so close together. It's such a tight-knit group that the Tracer just can't quite pull apart, and Chunky's sensing that is actually going over to the Hanzo. Big fan of this pick. It's almost like a double sniper composition here, Harry, because Tracy will be able to come for the scars, and if Chunky finds a flank, there's so many angles that the Shield of Reaps will have to try and cover that it'll eventually just become too much, and as soon as one of these picks is found, it will snowball from there. But no, it's on the other side. Rose is falling.
Yeah, unless that happens, the Gat just chases down Rose on the right side there. Now they're trying to chase down Tracy as well, but this means that they're without the D.Va and they're without the Mei in the front lines, as Tracy is just kind of chilling out in the back line, trying to stay alive for as long as he can. He will get the Mega Health Pack and stay alive. But Chunky Monkey over on the Hanzo now, trying to get that insta-kill potential. Do you think the Hanzo or maybe a Sombra would work here?
I'm not sure. I don't think the dive will be strong enough, even with the Sombra, to get enough value. I think the Hanzo is the right pick because they can go for picks.
Yeah, speaking of picks, Crossler using the High Noon right there, getting onto Tracy, please. And Dixon, even with the Nano Boost, any anti-nade onto the Big Ounce, could not secure the kill. Amphibian in the back line using the bomb, gets 3! Amphibian, you absolute maniac! You managed to kill 3 with that. That is insane. They should be able to get a really quick re-engage here now in a 3v5 or a 3v6 situation.
Yeah, and you can see it. Reaps is just backing up, and that will give them so much space to work with, that of Orange Monarchs. They'll be able to go really far forward, and it will let Tracy get up in the sky, get more room, and it might even let the Hanzo take a few more fun angles. And the Blizzard's eaten! Such a huge play to actually eat that Blizzard from Amphibian there, and it keeps this fight alive. It is Dixon going wild with the Primal Rage, but a few of the teammates actually get knocked down as well before Reeks gets put to sleep themselves. This fight is actually going the way of Chimera, and it is Crossler hitting the shots. There's actually a really nice Mei wall there from Gat to just wall off everybody and make those shots really easy, quite literally shooting fish in a barrel. And Tracy is finally giving up on their aerial campaign, heading over to the Mei, and Dixon will be following suit, going over the right. So going back to that more brawl style that we have seen them most successful with. I really agree with this. They have a minute left. This is like their master stroke. They need to make something happen with this.
They definitely do. You are absolutely correct. Apologies for a couple of tech issues right there. As we see them just trying to get really aggro. Reeves tries to pin out, but he might get caught out. No, he doesn't. It's going to be a Dragon Strike. Reeves is so low, but he's been kept alive by great healing from Big Ounce and great peel from left of Zen. This might be where we see Orange Monarch crumble. We do see the barrier get destroyed as Dixon just line of sight away from the amplification matrix, and left of Zen gets taken down by Tracy. Now it's going to be a Blizzard coming into the back line at the point right now from the side of Gat, and that is so good. Freezes up Chunky Monkey and takes him down. Left of Zen manages to find Dixon Mate as well and uses self-destruct. Doesn't really find anything with it, but with only 8 seconds left, it is so difficult now for only Tauros and Rose to stay on point. Reeds does go down, and Tauros is still alive. Amphibian sacrifices himself on the point, and so does Tauros. Rose, though, it's back. High Noon coming out now from the side of Crossler, but he gets taken down. Only after taking down Rose, though. Immortality Field managed to keep the rest of the team alive as Big One is still there with Tracy, please. Still contesting the point. Shadow gets put down right now. Dixon is frozen, stunned, pinned away, booped away, and that is going to be a full hold for Chimera. This is not looking good for Orange Monarchs.
Now, they'll have to do the fuller hold here to keep themselves in this series. They weren't even remotely close to finishing point A there. A very oppressive defense from Reaps and Co. on the side of Chimera is holding that corner and not giving it up. I think that, again, this is a case of maybe Monarchs not playing to their strengths as much as they should. They know that theoretically the dive comp on this point might be the best way to go, but in practice it just isn't working. They should, I think, keep on playing to their strengths. Keep Dixon on the Reinhardt, keep Rose on that Lucio, and keep speeding them around and making plays with that. That is what has worked for them throughout this entire series, and I don't see any reason to change that. But the thing is now, the defense is in a really rough position, because whatever they come out with, Chimera has all the time in the world to just sit and spawn, think about how they want to counter it, and then make those hero swaps and execute that strategy. But from the looks of things, they might actually be going for a sneaky spawn play here. They are just all on this coast side alley, kind of speeded to spawn at the last second. And if Gat is going for the Bastion pick here, they will get really caught off guard as this rotation comes through.
Yeah, but I think this is what they need to do to just even stall some time off of the cart right there, and they are just going to go straight forward. It's actually the Widowmaker and the Pharah coming out here, so now they have to move over towards the point, because right now it's just being pushed for free. This has really not worked out well for Orange Monarch right now. They do keep the rest of the team in spawn, but Reeves gets the boop onto Chunky Monkey. Crosser gets to the pick on Tauros, but Gat goes down in return to Amphibian. Dixon mate is just trying to hold shield right now, but he gets taken down by Left of Zen. Amphibian gets the boop onto Big Once, but it will not matter as he will eventually have to fall. I think he needs to throw himself into the canal right now.
I like that play in theory, but in practice, it couldn't have gone worse for Monarchs. The DPS picks of the Pharah and the Widow is just the ultimate storm to kind of beat up that brawl composition that they were playing. And now the defense has one more fight that they can give up. Not even that. They cannot afford to give up another fight here or they give up this series. Dixon over on the Wrecking Ball. So it will be a Wrecking Ball mirror match, and it'll be their job to try and get on Krutzler. And they do that right off the bat. This is winnable.
That is a massive pick. And they managed to get Ryan on the Mercy as well. Not before Krutzler gets the Resurrect though. Gat does manage to take himself out though. And Amphibian is just all over Krutzler right now. It doesn't really matter too much though. So that is going to be 1-5-1 for Orange Monarchs right now. Still several more to go.
Yeah, 2
oh, no!
on the clock. And Amphibian down off the bat. That just gives the Pharah up in the sky so much more space. And there will also be a brief period of time where Gat will have a free rocket barrage without risk of the defense metrics. And Gat is going in for that now.
Yeah, you can see him going in. There's the nano boost. There's the barrage. High Noon coming out. Doesn't get anything because Gat takes him out. It's the big rounds. Finding Rose. Krutzler finding Tracy Flint. And that is going to be it. The boop up into the self-destruct. This is going to be Chimera taking the map, taking the series, and ending the hopes of Orange Monarchs.
Yeah, there's only a few more meters to go, but no amount of stagger could save that one. Amphibian just dying at the worst possible time and coming back just way too late for the party, unfortunately for them. And that is going to be a 3-0 to Chimera. But you kind of said it earlier on in the series, do not let that scoreline mess you up about how close of a series this was, particularly maps 1 and 2. This one, not so much. Chimera really found their footing there, but that was a beautiful self-destruct as well. But yeah, those first 2 maps were really, really close, and with a few different things going the tiniest bit differently, we could be looking at 2-1 to Monarchs at the moment at that rate.
Yeah, most definitely. It really was just down in the first 2 maps to individual plays. And if those don't happen, it is a completely different looking game. You know, if there's no Earthshatter on the side of Chimera there on King's Row, they don't win. If there's no Death Blossom, they don't win King's Row either. It really was just individual plays on King's Row that won them that. And same, honestly, with Lijiang Tower. Their individual plays kept them going throughout the series. But it also doesn't undermine their teamwork, which was impeccable throughout the series as well.
Yeah, they played really, really well. Reaps and Left Zen had some excellent synergy. The D.Va making a few massive plays on both sides, really. Really nice to see that impact from the off-tanks here, which we unfortunately won't get to see for much longer as Overwatch 2 rolls around in 2037. But yeah, it's nice to see the D.Va's getting a lot of value, which is always very sick. Everybody just played really well all the way around, and that makes it really difficult to award any type of MVP award. I did say that if Krut kept up that form, they would get it. So for that reason alone, I'm going to have to chuck it Krutzler's way of Chimera. But other than that, both teams played really, really well.
Yeah, they definitely did. I think with that, I believe that is going to be us for tonight. 2 great games of Overwatch. We do have some thank yous to go through. So firstly, thank you to our event producers at AAOL Esports, Bloodborne, Gat, and Papadaka, as well as Koala Esports, S-Dogger, and Bees. Thank you to our event coordinators, Papadaka and S-Dogger. Our lovely streamer for tonight, Abe,
showing you all the delicious gameplay. Nikki, thank you for casting with me, mate. It was an absolute pleasure. I also want to say a massive thank you to our stream technical assistant, Gat, Temporalic, and S-Dogger, and a massive special thanks to our patrons and to just everyone who watched the stream today and played. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here doing this massive hype games that we can all enjoy. So really massive thank you.
It cannot be said enough. There are so many people behind the scenes that are making all of this possible, as you said. A huge thanks to them and to the players as well for putting on 2 incredible shows. Very quickly, if anybody is joining somehow very, very late right now, I would recommend going back and watching both of the Kings Row maps that we saw tonight. And tell your friends to watch them as well. Tell your brother too. I don't know. But do watch those 2 maps of Kings Row. They might be the 2 best maps of Overwatch on Kings Row that I've ever casted.
Yeah, they definitely are the 2 best that I've ever casted on Kings Row. That is for sure. Again, massive thank you to everyone who has turned up. And we will see you all, beautiful people, next week.